Chapter 1524. Tian Xueqi loved to battle and was fond of killing. Thus he was quite famous among the crowd. And that snow dragon, its strength is quite shocking too. It seems to be stronger than an ordinary dragon. Indeed, it should be a genius among the true dragons. And that fourth layer martial dominator, his strength is quite shocking too. That's where you're wrong. That fourth layer martial dominator cultivator is relying on a sacred weapon. Did you see the wings on his back and the spear in his hand are both sacred weapons? That's why his strength is so strong. Without a sacred weapon, his strength would only be ordinary. That's true. The disciples of the various sects began to discuss among themselves. In the sky, Lu Ming executed his movement technique and lunged toward a sixth-layer martial dominator. The person's expression changed greatly as he did not dare to face Lu Ming's attack head-on. Croak. At that instant, a croak could be heard as a giant golden toad lunged toward Lu Ming. It opened its mouth and emitted a poisonous gas toward Lu Ming. The poisonous gas of a sacred weapon. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. He could tell at a glance that the golden toad was a sacred weapon. The poisonous gas of a sacred weapon was absolutely terrifying. Whoosh! Lu Ming quickly backed away, not wanting to come into contact with the poisonous gas. The young genius of the Desire Poison sect controlled the golden toad and chased after Lu Ming. Croak! Croak! The golden toad cried out as if it were alive. It kicked the air and turned into a golden ray that charged toward Lu Ming. Whoosh! Following this, a golden ray was fired from the toad's mouth and penetrated Lu Ming's body. Tongue. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The golden ray was the tongue of the toad. Whoosh! The black dragon spear stabbed forward like a black lightning bolt. Ding! Two rays of light, one black and one golden, collided in the air. Lu Ming's figure shuddered as he was knocked 2 steps backward. Meanwhile, the tongue of the toad was knocked flying. What a powerful force! Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His opponent's saint weapon was truly powerful. Not only did it have a poison attack, it also had a tongue attack. Without a doubt, if he was struck by that tongue, he would definitely be killed. Croak! The golden toad cried out and spat out poisonous gas from its mouth. Get the hell back! Lu Ming coldly spoke. His black wings flapped, causing a gale to sweep forward. The poisonous gas was blown off course by the gale. A Sky Universe Devil Sect disciple was careless and was enveloped by the poisonous gas. He immediately let out a mournful scream. In just a few breaths of time, he turned into a skeleton and fell to the ground. What a terrifying poison! That disciple of the demon sect was a low-earth spiritual body cultivator, but he had died in a few breaths. The Desire Poison sect's youth's face was dark as he controlled the golden toad to attack Lu Ming. Whoosh! Oh! Just at this moment, a terrifying sharpness stabbed towards Lu Ming from behind. It was a spear, the spear of divine retribution. This spear of divine punishment was too fast, and its power was too shocking. Not good. The moment Lu Ming felt it, his body stiffened as if a terrifying aura had locked onto him. In the next instant, the spear of divine punishment was about to pierce through Lu Ming's body. It was too fast, so fast that Lu Ming did not even have time to react. Puff! The spear of divine punishment pierced through Lu Ming's body. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's body shattered like a mirror with a loud bang. A dozen meters away, Lu Ming's figure appeared. Lu Ming felt a layer of cold sweat on his back. That attack had been too dangerous. Lu Ming had almost been killed. Luckily, Bubble had acted at the critical moment and used the space-time domain to move Lu Ming a dozen meters away, allowing him to avoid a calamity. A figure appeared where Lu Ming had been and a cold voice resounded. Space-time domain. It's him. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. The person who had appeared was the genius of the Heavenly God sect who had chased after Lu Ming previously, Xueqi. This person was a 9th-layer martial dominator realm genius, who had tried to ambush Qin Nan. Space-time domain? Dang! Xueqi said coldly as he lashed out with a spear of divine punishment in his hand, causing the air to explode. The spear of divine punishment was aimed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's forehead emitted a glow, forming a shield in front of him. At the same time, his black wings protected his body. Bang! The shield was instantly sent flying as the spear of divine punishment struck Lu Ming's black wings. Lu Ming's body shuddered violently as he was sent flying like a cannonball. Puff! Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. His opponent was too powerful. Even with the protection of a sacred weapon, he was still severely injured. Die, Xueqi said coldly as his body was bathed in a sacred glow. He took a step forward and charged at Lu Ming with the Spear of Divine Punishment. The Spear of Divine Punishment was aimed at Lu Ming's forehead as if it could penetrate anything in the world. However, at this crucial moment, a cold aura was emitted from below as an icy sword stabbed at Xueqi at a terrifying speed. Xueqi's expression changed. The icy sword posed a fatal threat to him. He no longer cared about killing Lu Ming as he swung the Spear of Divine Punishment at the icy sword. Bang! A shocking explosion could be heard as a terrifying shockwave swept in all directions. With the help of the shockwave, Lu Ming was sent flying over 10 li away with a cold look in his eyes. Previously, he had decided to cooperate with Bubble and fight to the death. Even if he were to die in the battle, he would not let his opponent have an easy time. However, it seemed like there was no need for that now. Han Chao, it's you. Xueqi's figure also retreated as he shouted coldly. At this moment, a young man appeared in front of Xueqi. The young man was slender and handsome. He wore a snow-white robe with an ice dragon embroidered on it. He was a disciple of the Dragon God Valley and the Ice Dragon Valley. So many people from the 3 sects are attacking 3 disciples of the Dragon God Valley. Now, even a martial royal realm 9th layer cultivator like you is attacking. Haha, how shameless. The young man from the Ice Dragon Valley, Han Chao, sneered. This Lu Ming has killed many people from the Heavenly God sect. He must die. There's no need to use any means. Xueqi said coldly. Haha, killed many people from the Heavenly God sect? What a joke. Have you not killed many disciples of the Dragon God Valley in the past few years? Does that mean that I have to kill all of the people from the Heavenly God sect whenever I see them? Do I have to use any means? Han Chao said with a mocking smile. Xueqi's face darkened. Indeed, the Dragon God Valley and the Heavenly God sect were not on good terms. It was normal for them to kill each other. However, there were still rules. For example, the Sage Realm experts from both sides would not attack the juniors of the other side. That would cause chaos. Han Chao, you don't have to say anything. Today, these people must die. Xueqi said. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, figures flew over from all directions. There were at least a few dozen people standing behind Xueqi. They were all disciples of the Heavenly God sect. Whoosh, whoosh. Chapter 15:25. Boom. Tian Xue and Mo he exchanged a blow and separated. Tian Xue went to Lu Ming's side. Xueqi also stopped and went to Lu Ming's side. She looked around solemnly. There were at least 100 people from the Heavenly God sect, Empyrean Demon sect, and Desire Poison sect. Their auras surged and suppressed Lu Ming's group. Cold murderous intent filled the air. Now, I don't need to do anything. They're all dead meat. Xueqi sneered. Do you really think there's no one in the Dragon God Valley? Where are the disciples of the Dragon God Valley? Han Chao shouted. His voice spread far and wide. Senior brother, let me help you. I'll do it. Voices rang out. Then, figures flashed across the sky and landed behind Han Chao. They were the disciples of the Dragon God Valley. More and more disciples of the Dragon God Valley rushed out from the crowd. Everyone, this was caused by Lu Ming and the other 2 from the Cloud Dragon Valley. Why should we get involved in this mess? He stood in front of a few disciples of the Dragon God Valley and said. He wanted Lu Ming to be surrounded by the 3 sections. He couldn't wait for Lu Ming to be killed. Naturally, he didn't want anyone to help him. Although the 7 valleys of the Dragon God Valley have some competition with each other, we have to be on the same side. If you're not going to do anything, get out of my way. A disciple of the Black Dragon Valley shouted and flew toward the battlefield. The other disciples of the Dragon God Valley also flew toward the battlefield. Yu's face turned ugly. He snorted and blended into the crowd. How could he do anything? There were more than 40 disciples of the Dragon God Valley behind Han Chao. The auras of both sides exploded. The atmosphere was tense and tense. Han Chao, you think the Dragon God Valley can go against the 3 sects? How naive. Fine, I'll kill all of you today. Xueqi's eyes were filled with cold murderous intent. The 3 sects had the absolute advantage. They could use this opportunity to kill a group of Dragon God Valley's elites and weaken the Dragon God Valley's strength. Who are you going to kill? A faint voice came from the sky. Boom. Then, a terrifying aura pressed down from the sky towards Xueqi. Xueqi's expression changed drastically. He roared angrily, and holy light erupted from his body to resist this aura. However, the holy light on his body trembled violently, and he couldn't help but take a few steps back. He looked at the sky with an ugly expression. Zifeng. Xueqi roared angrily, a serious look in his eyes. At that moment, everyone's gazes were also focused on the sky. High up in the sky, a purple-robed youth stood with his hands behind his back. His gaze swept across the Heavenly God sect, Sky Universe Demon sect, and Desire Poison sect indifferently. Zifeng, the #1 genius of the Dragon God Valley, one of the top 10 geniuses of the Tsang state. A message appeared in Lu Ming's mind. Senior brother Zifeng. It's senior brother Zifeng. The other disciples of Dragon God Valley were overjoyed. Zifeng had arrived. They knew that even if there was a battle today, they would not lose. Zifeng, you want to interfere? Xueqi said as he looked at Zifeng with an ugly expression. Although his combat strength was strong, it was nothing compared to Zifeng, who was a genius of the Tsang state. He could probably kill him in one move. The three of you have joined forces to bully my Dragon God Valley. What's wrong with me interfering? Zifeng said indifferently and took a step forward. Roar! An earth-shattering dragon roar came from his body. The shadow of a purple true dragon soared into the sky and looked down in all directions. A terrifying pressure pressed down on the disciples of the Heavenly God sect, Sky Universe Demon sect, and Desire Poison sect. The expressions of the disciples of the three forces changed drastically. It was as if a huge rock was pressing down on them, and they couldn't even breathe properly. This pressure? It's so strong. Is this the combat strength of a genius? We can't fight back at all. It's as if we're facing a Sage Realm expert. The disciples of the three sects revealed looks of fear on their faces. Their combat strength was far inferior to Zifeng's. If they attacked, they would be slaughtered. Zifeng, as one of the top 10 geniuses of the Tsang state, aren't you afraid of being laughed at by others for attacking these ordinary disciples? At that moment, a domineering voice sounded. A burly figure stepped into the air and stood not far away from Zifeng. Demonic chi surged from his body, and a powerful aura rushed out and destroyed Zifeng's aura. The disciples of the three forces felt their bodies lighten. Senior brother Moyang. The disciples of the Sky Universe Demon sect cried out in surprise. Mo Yang, one of the top 10 geniuses, is here too. Some of the spectators sucked in a breath of cold air, but at the same time, they were also excited. 2 of the top 10 geniuses of the Tsang state had arrived. Could it be that the top 10 geniuses were going to fight in advance today? The top 10 geniuses of the Tsang state had fought at the Tsang State Treasure Assembly 3 years ago. In the past 3 years, they had all been cultivating in seclusion in order to suppress the other geniuses at the Treasure Assembly. They hadn't fought for 3 years. Everyone was very curious. After 3 years, to what extent had the combat strength of the top 10 monstrous geniuses reached? Others are laughing at us? Don't you think that the Celestial God sect, the Sky Universe Demon sect, and the Poison sect are the laughingstock? Generally speaking, before the Treasure Assembly, those who are above the 7th level of the Martial Royal Realm would be preparing for the Treasure Assembly and wouldn't fight easily. The period before the Assembly is the stage for geniuses below the 7th level of the Martial Royal Realm. They will fight again and again. Those who are above the 7th level of the Martial Royal Realm are not allowed to interfere. But what about you? After saying that, Zifeng's gaze swept across the disciples of the 3 major sections. Among these people, at least 1/3 of them were above the 7th level of the Martial Royal Realm. That's right. The Celestial God sect, the Sky Universe Demon sect, and the Poison sect were the first to besiege us. With their geniuses above the 7th level of the Martial Royal Realm, they besieged 2 6th level of the Martial Royal Realm and 1 4th level of the Martial Royal Realm. However, they still couldn't defeat our disciples. In the end, even Xueqi had to sneak up on them. What a joke! Han Chao said coldly and mockingly. Xueqi's face turned ghastly pale. Zifeng and Han Chao were right. Before the Treasure Assembly, it was a fight between disciples below the 7th level of the Martial Royal Realm. Those who were above the 7th level of the Martial Royal Realm would not interfere. Previously, if he had quickly killed Lu Ming and the other 2 and left, it would have been fine. However, now that he had done so, he would definitely be criticized and dissatisfied by the other sections. There were 13 top sects in the Tsong prefecture, not just the few of them. This was the common unspoken rule of the 13 sections. Well, in that case, let's meet at the Treasure Assembly in 10 days. Let's see how strong the backup force of the Dragon God Valley is. Mo Yang said domineeringly. That's right. At the Treasure Assembly in 10 days, unless the Dragon God Valley withdraws, let's see how you will die. Unless the Dragon God Valley doesn't participate. Hee, that's not bad. The Treasure Assembly of the Dragon God Valley can end early. Xueqi said coldly. He knew that with the arrival of the two monstrous geniuses, Zifeng and Mo Yang, there would be no fight today. Chapter 1526. Then, I'll see you at the treasure ordering meeting in 10 days. Zifeng said. Let's go. Mo Yang was the first to turn around and leave. He glared fiercely at Lu Ming and left with the people from the Tianyu demon sect. Then, the people from the Heavenly God sect and the Poison sect also left. In the blink of an eye, all the people from the three sects had left. The storm had come to an end. Lu Ming, thank you Senior Brother Zifeng and Senior Brother Han Chao for your help. Xueqi, thank you, Lu Ming, Tian Chue, and Xueqi cupped their fists at Zifeng and Han Chao to express their gratitude. You're welcome. The three of you are good. The three of you should participate in the treasure ordering meeting. Zifeng nodded. Treasure ordering meeting? Lu Ming was still in a daze. Isn't this the treasure ordering meeting? Why is there a treasure ordering meeting? Senior brother, don't worry. I was just about to participate. I'll kill the Heavenly God sect and the other two sects to my heart's content. Tian Chue grinned, his eyes full of malevolence. Xueqi nodded in agreement. Let's return to the station first. Zifeng nodded and stepped out, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Then, the other disciples of the Divine Dragon Valley flew back to the station together. Senior brother, senior sister, what's the treasure ordering meeting? Lu Ming asked curiously on the way. The treasure ordering meeting is a competition between the 13 top sects before the treasure ordering meeting begins. The rule is that the participants must be below the 7th level of the martial royal realm and below the age of 50. Tian Chue explained. In Yuan continent, the young people's temperament was somewhat different from that in the Divine Wilderness continent. In the Divine Wilderness continent, those below the age of 30 were the younger generation, the golden age of cultivation. However, in Yuan continent, those below the age of 50 were the younger generation. This was because the cultivation environment in Yuan continent was too good. Many people had broken through to the martial royal realm at a young age and had a lifespan of 10,000 to 20,000 years. Their vitality was extremely strong. Compared to 10,000 to 20,000 years ago, 50 years old was still the golden age of youth with unlimited potential. As a matter of fact, cultivators below the 7th layer martial dominator realm are considered the reserve strength of their respective sections. They will participate in the treasure pedestal in 3 or 6 years' time. Consider it as a chance to observe the upcoming treasure pedestal, as well as the strength of their respective sects. Xueqi explained. Lu Ming suddenly understood. This could be considered a small-scale treasure sorting convention, so it was called the Treasure Sorting Convention. The 13 sects also attach great importance to the treasure pedestal meeting because the last 3 sects are not qualified to participate in this year's treasure pedestal meeting, which is equivalent to being eliminated in advance. Therefore, every treasure pedestal meeting is extremely fierce. Xueqi continued. How could this be? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The treasure sorting convention was directly linked to the treasure pedestal meeting. The last 3 sects were not qualified to participate in the treasure pedestal meeting, which meant that only 10 sects would participate in each treasure pedestal meeting. Each sect will send 36 geniuses from the 4th layer to the 6th layer martial royal realm to participate in the treasure pedestal meeting. There are still 10 days left. Let's go back and cultivate. Then we'll kill them to our heart's content. Tian Chue said. This time he felt extremely wronged. It was not that he was not strong enough, but the opponents were all experts with higher cultivation levels. However, there would not be any experts above the 6th layer martial royal realm at the treasure pedestal meeting. You should prepare yourselves. This treasure pedestal meeting might be extremely dangerous. The Heavenly God sect, the Heavenly Demonic sect, and the Desire Poison sect might join forces to deal with the Divine Dragon Valley. You should be fully prepared. Han Chao said. Senior brother, don't worry. I'll kill whoever I see. Tian Xue said with a ferocious grin. Although your strength is strong, don't underestimate your opponents. From what I know, each sect has geniuses with superior earthly spiritual bodies, and most of them have reached the peak 6th layer martial royal realm. The Heavenly Gods sect, in particular, has produced many geniuses over the years. They are known as the top sect in the Tsang continent. Don't underestimate them. Han Chao said. Although Han Chao had cultivated the ice dragon battle flesh, he was very easygoing. He chatted with the group along the way, and they soon arrived at the outpost of the Divine Dragon Valley. As soon as they arrived at the outpost, Lu Ming, Tian Xue, Xueqi Xin, and the others returned to their rooms to cultivate in seclusion. There were still 10 days left until the treasure pedestal meeting. Tian Xue had not used up all the true dragon meat he had obtained. He could use this time to improve his strength. Xueqi Xin's dragon crystal had not been fully digested, so her strength could also improve. As for Lu Ming, he entered the mountain and river pattern and sat under the tree of enlightenment. Previously, Shiguan's sneak attack had put him in a life-or-death situation. At the critical moment, his potential was unleashed, and his chaotic domain had reached the peak of the 4th level. He was only a step away from the 5th level. Now, he needed to continue improving his cultivation. His cultivation was at the early 4th level of the martial royal realm. Now, he needed to reach the peak of the 4th level of the martial royal realm. With a wave of his hand, a pile of origin stones appeared. Lu Ming began to devour and refine the origin stones. His cultivation base began to rise rapidly. 5 days later, Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the peak of the 4th level of the martial royal realm. For the rest of the time, Lu Ming cultivated the 13 strikes under the Tree of Enlightenment. Perhaps because of the pressure, before the treasure pedestal meeting, he had cultivated the 13 strikes to the peak of the 6th level, and its power had increased greatly. At this time, the time for the treasure pedestal meeting had arrived. In the outpost of the Divine Dragon Valley, there were 36 young men standing in a huge courtyard. All of them were between the 4th and 6th level of the martial royal realm. They were all geniuses. Most of their spiritual bodies were inferior earth spiritual bodies. Those with ordinary spiritual bodies were not qualified to participate. Lu Ming, Tian Xue, and Xueqi Xin were also among them. In addition, Lu Ming also saw a few familiar faces. Blood Dragon Valley. He Yu. Silver Dragon Valley. Silver Dragon Valley. After a period of cultivation, Silver Dragon Valley's cultivation had reached the 6th level of the martial royal realm. He Yu and Silver Dragon Valley stood together and whispered to each other. They glanced coldly at Lu Ming from time to time. At this time, a sage realm elder appeared in front of them. This treasure pedestal meeting is very important. I hope you will do your best to protect the honor of the Divine Dragon Valley. The sage realm elder said. We will do our best. The 36 young men and women said loudly. Good. At the treasure pedestal meeting, you can't use sacred weapons. The highest you can use is a spiritual weapon of the royal realm. You should know that. The sage realm elder said. Yes. Everyone replied. Good. This time, the 36 of you will be led by Han Sun. At the treasure pedestal meeting, you must listen to his orders. Do you understand? The sage realm elder said. Yes. Everyone nodded. Lu Ming looked at a young man in a white robe. Chapter 1527. After the sage realm elder finished his instructions, he led the group to the location of the treasure peddling meeting. Of course, they weren't the only ones going. Many other disciples were going to watch as well. The location of the treasure peddling meeting was in a huge building halfway up Tsang Mountain. The building was circular and the top was empty. When Lu Ming and the others arrived, they saw a huge battle stage in the middle of the building. Around the battle stage were 13 huge cylindrical platforms. They were slightly higher than the battle stage and surrounded the battle stage in the middle. Looking down from the sky, each cylindrical platform had a number on it. They were arranged from 1 to 13 in a counterclockwise direction. Outside the cylindrical platforms were rows of spectator stands. They were slightly higher than the cylindrical platforms, so the people sitting on the spectator stands could clearly see the situation on the battle stage. Outside the spectator stands, there were many pavilions. They were even higher up. We participants will land on those platforms. Let's go down. Han Sun said and landed first. They didn't deliberately choose a platform and landed on platform number 10. The Sage Realm Elder flew into one of the pavilions. The other disciples of Dragon God Valley, who followed Lu Ming and the others, landed on the spectator stands behind platform number 10. Dragon God Valley, you guys are pretty early. A cold voice sounded. In the sky, sacred light spread. The people of Heavenly God Sect had arrived. The people of Heavenly God Sect didn't stand on ceremony and landed on platform number 1. The disciples of Heavenly God Sect who didn't participate in the competition landed on the spectator stands behind platform number 1. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. In the sky, a dense crowd was flying toward the platform. The 13 top sects arrived one after another. Each sect had 36 participants who landed on the platform. The other disciples landed on the spectator stands. Among them, Sky Universe Demon Sect landed on platform number 2. Heavenly King Palace, platform number 3. Demonic Moon Sect, platform number 4. Desire Poison Sect, platform number 5. Nine Heaven Sword Sect, platform number 6. Linglong Palace, platform number 7. Platform number 8 was empty. The sects hadn't arrived yet. Intentionless Saber Sect, platform number 9. Platform number 10 was for Dragon God Valley. Platform number 11 was for Payuan Family. Platform number 12 was for Blood Demon Tower. Platform number 13 was for Demon Castle. Among the 13 top sects, the mysterious Life and Death Sword Sect had yet to arrive. Whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, streaks of sword light streaked across the sky. The people of the Life and Death Sword faction had arrived. So few people. Lu Ming looked over and could not help being stunned. The Life and Death Sword faction had sent 13 people. Apart from the old man leading the group, there were only 12 people from the younger generation. Whoosh, whoosh. 12 disciples of Life and Death Sword sects, disciples from the Life and Death sect. Lu Ming, the Life and Death Sword sect is very strict in accepting disciples. Hence, they have the least number of disciples. Every time they participate in the treasure ordering assembly, there are 12 of them. Sometimes, they can't even gather all 12 of them. Although they are at a disadvantage because they have fewer disciples, no one dares to belittle them. This is because everyone in the Life and Death Sword sect is a genius. Lu Ming nodded. He saw a familiar face in the Life and Death Sword sect, Luo Xiang. Luo Xiang had left a deep impression on him. He was a Peak 9 Heaven Supreme who had nurtured his sword soul for 15 years. Dragon God Valley. They really dare to come. In the Heavenly Universe Demon Sect, Mohe's cold gaze landed on the Divine Dragon Valley and Lu Ming. Isn't it better that they're here? This time, let's kill everyone from Dragon God Valley. A genius of the Heavenly Divinity Sect said coldly. His body glowed with a sacred light and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. That's right. Kill them all. The young man who had stopped Lu Ming and the others from the Desire Poison Sect said coldly. He glared at Lu Ming and the others. Strength doesn't depend on words. We'll know who lives and who dies later, Lu Ming said as he clenched his fists. This time, I'll kill to my heart's content. Lu Ming, I'll take your life. He pointed at Lu Ming and a saber glow appeared. I'll take your life too, Lu Ming replied coldly. The Dragon God Valley, the Sky Demon Sect, the Desire Poison Sect, and the Heavenly Divinity Sect were filled with hostility even before the battle began. They were not the only ones. The other sects had conflicts with each other too. They glared at each other with murderous intent, filling the place with a murderous aura. Meanwhile, in a courtyard of the Heavenly Divinity Sect, the Divine Sun stood with his hands behind his back. Xueqi stood behind the Divine Sun respectfully and reported to him. I didn't expect so many things to happen just because I came a few days late. The people of the Dragon God Valley are getting bolder, and you all are trash. You can't even kill a few people who have not even reached the 7th layer Martial Dominator realm. The Divine Sun said coldly. If it weren't for that kid's strange pet that can affect time, I would have killed him long ago. Xueqi said. The space-time spirit mouse was a legendary creature. Not everyone knew about it. Xueqi didn't recognize it as a space-time spirit mouse. A pet that can affect time. The Divine Sun's eyes turned cold and murderous intent burst out of his body. Tell me, what does that kid look like? And what do his two companions look like? Is there a true dragon among them? The divine son asked a few questions. There is indeed a true dragon. It's a snow dragon and... Then, Xueqi described the appearance of Lu Ming and the others. It's indeed them. They dared to set me up in the dragon palace. The divine son's eyes turned cold. Back then, in the dragon palace, he had used an ancient talisman of the god-forbidden void to suppress the black dragon's corpse. However, someone had secretly sabotaged him and destroyed the ancient talisman, allowing the black dragon to escape. All his efforts were in vain. He had been trying to find out who the culprit was. Now, he knew it was Lu Ming. Who else could it be other than Lu Ming who could affect time and space? Ignorant fool, where is he now? I'll go and kill him. The divine son exuded a cold, murderous intent. Divine son, Lu Ming should be participating in the treasure sorting meeting. The 13 top sects will be gathering. If you kill him now, I'm afraid the other sects will be angry. Xueqi said hurriedly. Then let's wait until the treasure sorting meeting is over before killing him. After saying that, the divine son took a step forward and disappeared. The smell of gunpowder in the treasure sorting meeting was getting stronger. At this moment, an old man stepped into the air and appeared on the fighting ring. The old man was dressed in white and was a sage realm elder of the celestial sect. Over the years, the celestial sect had become stronger and stronger. They had won first place in 2 consecutive treasure sorting meetings. They had even won first place twice in the treasure sorting meeting. Chapter 1528. Since we were the winner last time, I'll be the host this time, and all the elders will supervise. The voice of the celestial sect's sage realm elder reverberated throughout the area. He scanned the crowd and said, I believe that most people already know the rules of the competition. However, I still have to repeat the rules of the competition. You are divided into 13 platforms. Apart from the life and death sword faction, each sect has 36 people. The rules of the competition are very simple. First, the divine sect in the first platform will send one person to the fighting platform. He can challenge anyone from any sect until one of them is killed or knocked off the fighting platform. Then, the competition will be over. The winner will go back to the platform and wait for the next challenge. After the first platform's challenge is over, it will be the turn of the second platform's sect to send one person to challenge. They can also challenge anyone from any sect until one person is defeated. Just like that, it will be the turn of the third platform to send someone to challenge, followed by the fourth platform, and all the way to the 13th platform. At least 13 people will be eliminated in one round. In theory, there will be a total of 36 rounds. Do you understand? The sage realm elder of the celestial god sect said loudly. Understood. The crowd responded. Remember, you're not allowed to admit defeat during the challenge. Only when you fall off the fighting ring or get killed will the challenge be considered over. This way, there will be a sect that will be eliminated in the end. The first 3 sects to be eliminated will be the last 3 sects, and they won't be able to participate in this treasure sorting meeting. The sage realm elder explained again, which made many people clench their fists. No matter what, they couldn't be the last 3 sections. Otherwise, their sects wouldn't even be qualified to participate in the treasure sorting meeting. How shameful would that be? In the end, only one sect will be left. The sect that survives until the end will be rewarded. The reward this time is the Emperor Area Elixir. 7 Emperor Area Elixirs. The crowd was in an uproar. What? The reward this time is so generous? It's the Emperor Area Elixir, and 7 of them. How generous! Many people exclaimed. Lu Ming's eyes were burning with passion. As the name suggested, the Emperor Area Elixir was refined with the Emperor Area fruit as the main ingredient. It was said that a single Emperor Region pill required 9 Emperor Region fruits and other precious materials to refine. An Imperial Domain fruit could allow a low-rank ruler to directly break through one level. On the other hand, a single Royal Domain pill was capable of allowing a mid-rank monarch or even a high-rank monarch to directly break through a level of cultivation. How precious was that? To intermediate rulers like them, it was a fatal attraction. It was especially so for Lu Ming. It was too difficult for him to improve his primal chaos domain. However, if he had the Emperor Domain pill, it would greatly reduce the time he needed to break through. The most important point is that saint weapons are not allowed to be used in this competition. Whoever uses a saint weapon will be killed without mercy. Alright, these are the rules for this competition. Now, let the competition begin. The Celestial Divine Sect's Sage Realm Elder announced. Then, he turned around and returned to a pavilion. All right, since the Heavenly God Sect is standing on platform number 1, let us be the first to send out someone to fight. On the first platform, a white-robed youth spoke. It was obvious that this person was the leader of the Heavenly Divinity Sect. Every sect would arrange a leader to be in charge of adjusting the battle strategy. Having said that, the white-robed youth pointed at a youth and said, "You can go up. Follow the plan." Yes, the youth nodded. His eyes flashed coldly as he stepped forward and appeared on the platform. He looked around and his gaze landed on platform number 10, where the people of the Dragon God Valley were. "You, come down here and die." The Heavenly Divinity Sect youth pointed at a 4th-rank Martial Royal from the Dragon God Valley. As expected, he was challenging the Dragon God Valley. The crowd was startled. The Dragon God Valley and the Heavenly Divinity Sect had a grudge against each other. Moreover, with the incident involving Lu Ming and the others, it was inevitable that the Heavenly Divinity Sect would target the Dragon God Valley. "Do you think I'm afraid of you?" the Dragon God Valley youth said. He stepped forward and charged onto the platform. The two of them faced each other. Die! Die! Almost at the same time, the two of them charged at each other and their palms collided. Bang! The Dragon God Valley youth's body shook violently. He was knocked back and spat out a mouthful of blood. Shit! He's a peak 5th-rank Martial Royal. Damn it! Someone from the Dragon God Valley shouted. Die! The young man from the Celestial Sect had gained the upper hand in one move. He took a step forward and his body turned into a flash of white lightning as he rushed towards the young man from the Dragon God Valley. A godly retribution spear appeared and pierced towards the young man from the Dragon God Valley. Back off! The Dragon God Valley youth retreated. He knew that he was no match for the Heavenly Divinity Sect youth. He could only stay alive by leaving the platform. "You won't be able to escape." Die! The Heavenly Divinity Sect youth said coldly. Holy light burst out from his body and the godly retribution spear increased in speed. Slash! The godly retribution spear pierced through the young man's dantian and pinned him on the battle stage. Then, the godly retribution spear flung the young man's body off the battle stage. The young man's interspatial ring had already been taken away. What a piece of trash! The Heavenly Divinity Sect youth sneered and returned to platform number 1. Damn it! Someone from the Dragon God Valley shouted. Someone immediately went down and carried the Dragon God Valley youth's body away. Dragon God Valley. This is just the beginning. Next, all of you will die in this fighting ring. The leader of the Heavenly Divinity Sect said coldly. Humph. Let's wait and see. Han Sun harumphed coldly. The Heavenly Divinity Sect had finished their challenge on platform number 1. It was the turn of the Heavenly Divinity Sect on platform number 2. A youth from the Heavenly Divinity Sect stepped onto the platform and stared coldly at the Dragon God Valley disciple. You get down here. The Heavenly Divinity Sect youth pointed at a rank 4 Martial Royal from the Dragon God Valley. The Heavenly Divinity Sect is challenging us? It seems like the Heavenly Divinity Sect and the Heavenly Divinity Sect have teamed up to target the Dragon God Valley. This guy is also a rank 5 Martial Royal, but he dares to challenge our rank 4 Martial Royal. Someone from the Dragon God Valley said in a serious tone. Whoosh! The Dragon God Valley youth jumped onto the platform and stared at his opponent. Die! The Heavenly Divinity Sect youth shouted and charged at the Dragon God Valley youth. His peak rank 5 Martial Royal aura burst out. The Dragon God Valley youth did not dare to face the attack head-on and ran to the side. You can't escape. Demon Shadow Step. The young man from the Sky Universe Demon Sect flashed and appeared in front of the young man from the Dragon God Valley. He unsheathed his demon saber and demon chi filled the air. Roar! The Dragon God Valley youth roared furiously and charged at his opponent with all his might. However, the difference in their cultivation was too big. Chapter 1529. Demonic Splitting Saber. The young man from the Sky Universe Demon Sect slashed out with his saber. The terrifying saber radiance seemed to be able to split everything. Slash! The young man from the Dragon God Valley was slashed in half. Another person from the Dragon God Valley had died. The battle had just begun and 2 of them had already been killed. Damn it! Many young men from the Dragon God Valley shouted and clenched their fists. Then, someone went up and carried the young man's corpse down. The young man from the Sky Universe Demon sect left the fighting ring. Next, it was the Heavenly King Palace's turn to issue a challenge. The Heavenly King Palace sent out a genius of the LV4 Martial Royal Realm to challenge a LV4 Martial Royal Realm cultivator from the Thoughtless Saber sect. After more than 100 moves, the genius from the Heavenly King Palace won and knocked the genius from the Thoughtless Saber sect off the fighting ring. Next, the Demonic Moon sect issued a challenge on the 4th fighting ring. The Demonic Moon sect sent out a LV5 Martial Royal Realm cultivator to challenge a LV4 Martial Royal Realm cultivator from the Piyuan family. These two factions had a grudge against each other and now they were really angry. Next, it was the Desire Poison sect's turn to issue a challenge on the 5th fighting ring. A young man from the Desire Poison sect jumped onto the fighting ring and looked at the Dragon God Valley's side. "You come down." The young man from the Desire Poison sect pointed at a LV4 Martial Royal Realm cultivator from the Dragon God Valley. The faces of many people in the Divine Dragon Valley turned ugly. Another challenge from the Dragon God Valley. The young man from Dragon God Valley stepped onto the battle stage with an ugly expression, and then quickly retreated. His opponent was also a LV5 Martial Royal Realm cultivator. The young man from the Dragon God Valley knew that he was no match for him, so he could only run for his life. Unfortunately, the young man from the Desire Poison sect was too strong. He covered the fighting ring with poison gas and killed the young man from the Dragon God Valley. Another person from the Dragon God Valley had died. Ha ha! Cold laughter came from the Heavenly God sect. Many young men from the Heavenly God sect, Sky Universe Demon sect and Desire Poison sect looked at the Dragon God Valley's side with hostility. The Dragon God Valley is in trouble. The Heavenly God sect, Sky Universe Demon sect and the Desire Poison sect are joining forces to deal with the Dragon God Valley. Dragon God Valley, the Dragon God Valley side. And I don't know how many people from the Dragon God Valley will be killed. The Dragon God Valley's members. Many people from the various sects were discussing the matter. Damn it! Many young men from the Dragon God Valley roared furiously. Some of them even let out dragon roars as killing intent surged from their bodies. Whether it was the disciples of Dragon God Valley on the platform or the spectator stands behind, they were all enraged. They had gone too far. Counterattack. We must counterattack. When it's our turn, we must fight back. Many people released their true essence, revealing cold killing intent. Humph. It's all because of Lu Ming and the others. They provoked the Heavenly Divinity sect, Sky Universe Devil sect, and Poison Desire sect. Otherwise, why would our Dragon God Valley be targeted? A cold voice came from the crowd of Dragon God Valley. "You." Lu Ming's gaze turned slightly cold. That's right. It's all because of Lu Ming and the others that our Dragon God Valley has fallen into such a desperate situation. Lu Ming and the others have to bear the full responsibility. Such people should have been chased out of the Dragon God Valley long ago. Otherwise, how could today's matter happen? Silver City also spoke coldly. Shut up. Now is the time to think of a way to fight back, not internal strife. Han Soon reprimanded coldly. You and Silver City were wary of Han Soon, so they chuckled coldly and did not say anything. No, if this goes on, I might be in danger too. I must think of a way to save myself. Yu's eyes darted around as thoughts ran through his mind. The competition continued. On the 6th platform, the Nine Heavens Sword sect. The Sky Pride of the Nine Heavens Sword sect glanced at the Dragon God Valley and did not challenge them in the end. Instead, he chose to challenge the Blood Demon House. On the 7th platform, the 8th platform. One by one it was their turn. Soon, it was the Dragon God Valley's turn to challenge the 10th platform. The Dragon God Valley could finally fight back. Han Soon was about to arrange for an expert to kill one of the Heavenly Divinity sect's disciples to regain some morale. But at this moment, a figure suddenly rushed out and landed on the platform. It was Yu. Yu, what are you doing? Han Soon shouted angrily. Yu had dashed out before he could make any arrangements. Moreover, Yu was only a 4th-level martial emperor. What was the point of him dashing out? Yu sneered but did not say anything. He didn't want to wait for his death. He was a 4th-layer martial emperor. If he stayed on the platform and waited for the Celestial Divinity sect, Heavenly Universe Demon sect, and Poison Desire sect to challenge him, they might choose him. He didn't want to die. Yu turned around and looked at the monster castle on the 13th platform. Brother, why don't we have a spar? Yu looked at a young man from the monster castle. Damn it, Why is He challenging the monster castle? The monster castle is on good terms with the Dragon God Valley. Some disciples of the Dragon God Valley yelled. The young man from the monster castle was stunned. He did not expect He to challenge him. Everyone thought that the Dragon God Valley would fight back and send out an expert to challenge the Heavenly Divinity sect, the Sky Demon sect, or the Poison sect. The young man from the monster castle stepped onto the platform and began to fight with He. The young man from the monster castle was on par with He in terms of combat strength. After a few dozen moves, He was at a disadvantage and was knocked off the platform. Cowardly, Lu Ming said coldly. The other disciples of the Dragon God Valley were also enraged. Everyone could tell that He was cowardly. He was afraid that he would be challenged by the Heavenly Divinity sect and the other two sects if he stayed on the platform. That was why he went up to challenge the monster castle, who was on good terms with the Dragon God Valley. Moreover, He lost after a few dozen moves when they were on par with each other. It was obvious that he lost on purpose. This way, as the person who had lost, he would be considered eliminated. Naturally, he would not be challenged by other sections. I think junior brother He did the right thing. Why should he be responsible for the mistakes of others? Inching said coldly. Afterward, he cast a cold glance at Lu Ming. The eyes of some of the disciples of the Dragon God Valley flickered. All right, all of you shut up, Han Sun shouted. He was infuriated. As the leader of the Dragon God Valley, he was at his wits' end. At this moment, Lu Ming stepped forward and came before Han Sun. Senior brother Han Sun, Lu Ming has a plan to avenge the Dragon God Valley. Lu Ming said with a fist salute. What plan do you have? Han Sun's eyes lit up. The other disciples of the Dragon God Valley looked over curiously. Lu Ming immediately sent a voice transmission to Han Sun, telling him his plan. Junior brother Lu, are you confident? Han Sun asked solemnly after hearing the plan. Yes, and this is the only way for the Dragon God Valley to fight back. This is the only way to minimize our losses. Chapter 1530. Han Sun frowned and pondered for a while before he nodded. All right, let's do that. With that, Han Sun's gaze turned serious as he scanned the disciples of Divine Dragon Valley. Everyone has to listen to my arrangements for the next round. If anyone dares to make decisions on their own like He did, they will be punished according to the sect rules. Don't blame me for being merciless. Yes, senior brother. Many people nodded their heads in agreement. Senior brother, what is your plan? Why don't you tell us? Inching said coldly. You will know when the time comes. Now, all you have to do is listen to my arrangements. Han Sun's gaze swept across the Silver City with a trace of coldness. Inching's face darkened and he did not say anything. After He lost, he did not return to the platform. Instead, he went to the spectator stand behind the platform and the competition continued. Platform number 11, number 12 and number 13. When the Demon Castle Challenge on platform number 13 ended, the first round of the competition officially ended. In the first round, the true experts did not participate. Most of them were not very strong. Only Divine Dragon Valley was targeted by the three major sects and suffered heavy losses. After one round they lost 4 people. As for Heavenly God sect and Life and Death Sword faction, no one challenged them. Currently, Heavenly God sect seemed to be the #1 sect in Song State. They were so powerful that the other sects were wary of them. Although Life and Death Sword faction had fewer people, their individual strength was shocking. Every disciple of Life and Death Sword faction was not to be underestimated. Moreover, the Life and Death Sword skill of the Life and Death Sword sect required a life and death battle to be fought. It was a killing technique that everyone feared. After the first round, a few sects did not suffer any losses. For example, Heavenly God sect, Sky Demonic sect, Poison Desire sect and Life and Death Sword faction. After the first round, it was time for the second round. In the second round, Heavenly God sect sent someone to challenge Divine Dragon Valley. Without a doubt, Heavenly God sect sent out another expert to challenge a weaker disciple of Divine Dragon Valley. He killed the disciple of Divine Dragon Valley on the platform. Then, Sky Demonic sect did the same and killed another disciple of Divine Dragon Valley. When it was Poison Desire sect's turn, they killed another disciple of Divine Dragon Valley. The atmosphere in Divine Dragon Valley was getting more and more tense. Looks like Dragon God Valley is going to be the first to be eliminated. That's right. And many of them will be killed. Many of the geniuses in this batch will die. What a great loss. The members of the other sects and clans all shook their heads and sighed. The challenges continued, and soon, it was Dragon God Valley's turn. Wang Fei, it's your turn. Don't challenge the Celestial Divinity Sect, the Empyrean Demon Sect, or the Poison Sect. You can choose from the other sections. Han Sun pointed at a young man. Wang Fei. Everyone from the Dragon God Valley looked at Han Sun in surprise. Now, wasn't it their turn to counterattack? Shouldn't they send out an expert to kill someone from the Heavenly Divinity Sect? Why did they send out Wang Fei? Wang Fei was only a fourth-layer martial emperor. He was considered the weakest among the remaining people of the Divine Dragon Valley. Moreover, he wasn't allowed to challenge the three great sects of the Heavenly Divinity Sect. The others were astonished. Wang Fei himself was also stunned. Go! Han Sun spoke again. Roger. Wang Fei nodded and flew up to the fighting ring. He chose a disciple of the Intentionless Saber Sect, whose cultivation was similar to his. The two fought fiercely. After exchanging more than 100 blows, Wang Fei was knocked out of the ring. Dragon God Valley, what's the meaning of this? I don't understand. It's finally their turn. Instead of sending out an expert to counterattack, they sent out a weakling to challenge the other sections. I really don't understand what the Dragon God Valley is trying to do. It's simple. The Dragon God Valley is forced to give up the chance to counterattack to protect their weaker disciples. Otherwise, they would be killed by the three great sects. That's right. Many people discussed among themselves. They finally understood the Dragon God Valley's decision. With this, they could at least protect some of their disciples. Humph, how sad. Let's eliminate the Dragon God Valley first. They won't even be able to take part in the treasure pedestal. The leader of the Heavenly Divinity Sect said with a hollow laugh. Haha, that's right. I heard that the Dragon God Valley is well prepared to come first in the treasure pedestal. I wonder what would happen if they couldn't even take part in the treasure pedestal? The geniuses of the Heavenly Divinity Sect who were rank 7 Martial Royal Realm and above laughed mockingly. Some of the geniuses of the Heavenly Divinity Sect who were rank 7 Martial Royal Realm and above looked gloomy. Lu Ming was the only one who looked calm on the 10th platform. Just wait, the counterattack will begin soon. Lu Ming muttered to himself. The competition continued. Soon, the second round came to an end. The Dragon God Valley was still the most miserable sect. 3 of them were killed and 1 was defeated. After 2 rounds, 6 of them were killed and 2 of them were defeated. Only 28 out of 36 were left. The third round began. Just like the previous round, the Heavenly Divinity Sect, Empyrean Demon Sect, and Desire Poison Sect sent out their experts to challenge the weaklings of the Dragon God Valley. They had come prepared. Although the young man of the Dragon God Valley rushed down the fighting stage as soon as he attacked, the opponents sent out were much stronger than him. They managed to kill another 3 of the Dragon God Valley's disciples. When it was the Dragon God Valley's turn, Han Sun sent out a weak disciple to challenge the other sections. He was defeated but managed to survive. Soon, the third round ended. 9 of the Dragon God Valley's disciples were killed and 3 were defeated. A total of 12 people were eliminated. At this point, the young men of the rank 4 Martial Royal Realm had either died or been defeated. Only Lu Ming was still a rank 4 Martial Royal Realm cultivator. Everyone in the Dragon God Valley looked gloomy and the atmosphere was heavy. Ah! Damn it, Han Sun, why didn't we send out our experts to fight back? Send me in the next round. I want to kill these sons of bitches. Tian Xue waved his big hammer and roared angrily. He was extremely anxious. Lu Ming and Han Sun looked cold and did not say anything. Xueqi glanced at Lu Ming, deep in thought. Then, the fourth round began. It was the Heavenly Divinity Sect's turn again. Whoosh! A figure jumped onto the fighting stage on the first platform. Boom! A powerful aura burst out from his body. Rank 6 Martial Royal Realm. The Heavenly Divinity Sect started to send out rank 6 Martial Royal Realm cultivators because the remaining people in the Dragon God Valley were all rank 5 Martial Royal Realm cultivators and above. The person looked arrogant and looked at Lu Ming. In the end he said with a cold smile, Lu Ming, get down here and accept your death. He wants to challenge me? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Lu Ming, kill him. Kill this bastard. Tian Xue shouted. Don't worry. Lu Ming said. He stepped out and appeared on the fighting stage. Lu Ming, how dare you kill the people of the Heavenly Divinity sect again and again? Chapter 1531. Soon, there will be one more member of the Heavenly God sect dying in my hands. Lu Ming said coldly. Haha, ridiculous. Lu Ming, I know your strength is impressive, but it's mostly due to your sacred weapon. Now that you can't use your sacred weapon, how strong can your strength be? I'm a 6th-layer martial dominator. Killing you will be a piece of cake. The young man of the Heavenly God sect burst out laughing. His aura grew stronger and more shocking. Without a doubt, this young man of the Heavenly God sect was a powerful genius. He had cultivated a mid-tier earthly spiritual body, which was extremely powerful. Among the geniuses of the Heavenly God sect, his talent was comparable to Xueqi's. With his strength, he could easily defeat someone with a higher cultivation. Furthermore, Lu Ming was only a 4th-layer martial dominator. He was confident that he could kill Lu Ming without using his sacred weapon. Nonsense, come on, use your full strength. Lu Ming said calmly. Since you're so eager to die, I'll send you on your way. Dang. The genius of the Heavenly God sect emitted a brilliant sacred glow as a godly retribution spear appeared in his hand. The godly retribution spear penetrated the rift and stabbed toward Lu Ming. Its terrifying sharpness whistled in the heavens and earth, as if it could penetrate everything in the world. The genius of the Celestial God sect used his killer move right away. He wanted to kill Lu Ming in one move. Roar! The cry of a dragon could be heard coming from Lu Ming's body. Following this, the chaotic domain wrapped around Lu Ming's fist as he threw out a punch. The hell-suppressing heaven skill was unleashed. The punch was aimed at the godly retribution spear. You dare to use your fist against my godly retribution spear? Dang! The genius of the Heavenly God sect snapped. The people of the Heavenly God sect on the platform and the spectators stand smirked coldly. However, their smirks stiffened at the next moment. Bang! Lu Ming's fist blasted the Divine Punishment Spear. The Divine Punishment Spear exploded instantly. Lu Ming's fist blasted toward the other party as if it was crushing dry weeds and rotten wood. No, no! The young man's eyes widened as he screamed in his heart. He had thought he could kill Lu Ming's attack with a single blow. He did not even set up a defense, but it was too late. Bang! Lu Ming's fist collided with the young man's body. The young man's body instantly exploded into pieces. He was dead. The genius of the Celestial Divine Sect, a 6th-level martial emperor expert, had been killed by Lu Ming with one punch. Trash is a piece of trash. He stretched out his hand and sucked the storage ring of the Celestial God Sect's genius into his hand. Kills us as S. Tianzas says he's minds Sect. S's sex hand sect. Two's is there. S mind, S heart. Mind. S God. Of the God. Of the God. S two's B's. S God's minds. Damn it, it's Lu Ming again. Many people from the Heavenly God sect were enraged. Leave Lu Ming to me. I want him to die a horrible death. Lu Quan was careless just now. Leave Lu Ming to me. The other geniuses from the Heavenly God sect shouted angrily. All right, I'll be waiting. Come and challenge me then. Lu Ming looked at the Heavenly God sect coldly. Then, he glanced at the Sky Demon sect and the Poison sect. Dragon God Valley's counterattack will begin soon. Lu Ming's body flashed and he returned to the fighting ring. Let's continue. The leader of the Heavenly God sect shouted as he looked at the Sky Demon sect. Don't worry, the Dragon God Valley's end is already decided. The leader of the Sky Demon sect sneered. He then sent out an expert to challenge a rank 5 Martial King from the Dragon God Valley. The rank 5 Martial King from the Dragon God Valley was also very strong. He tried his best to rush down the fighting ring, but he was almost killed at the edge of the fighting ring. Then, it was the Poison sect's turn. Another person from the Dragon God Valley was killed. The Life and Death Sword sect issued a challenge on the 8th fighting ring. Until now, the Life and Death Sword sect had not lost a single person. Whoosh! Sword radiance flashed and a figure appeared on the fighting ring. This person was Luo Xiang, whom Lu Ming had met in the Tsang Emperor's secret territory. Luo Xiang looked around and his gaze landed on a rank 6 Martial King on the Heavenly God sect's fighting ring. He said, "You fight with me." Many people were surprised. The Life and Death Sword sect was challenging the Heavenly God sect. The heavenly god sect's genius who was being challenged looked gloomy as he stepped onto the fighting ring. He looked at Luo Xiang and said, "Make your move. Make your move first. Otherwise, you won't have a chance." Luo Xiang said coldly, "How arrogant. Let's see what you've got." The heavenly god sect's genius shouted. A divine retribution spear appeared and stabbed towards Luo Xiang. Clang! A sword radiance flashed from Luo Xiang's hand. It was too fast. Almost no one could see how Luo Xiang had attacked. The sword radiance flashed across the sky. In the next moment, Luo Xiang's sword returned to its sheath. The heavenly god sect's genius opened his eyes wide and stared at Luo Xiang unwillingly. Then his body was split into two. Dead. A rank 6 martial king of the heavenly god sect had been killed by Luo Xiang with a single slash. How powerful! Is this the life and death sword sect's sword technique? It's too terrifying. Luo Xiang is only a rank 5 martial king. Many people exclaimed. More people felt a chill run down their spines. How could they dodge such a slash? This Luo Xiang is indeed not simple. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with amazement. He had heard that Luo Xiang was a peak martial saint and had been cultivating his sword soul for 15 years. Such a person was extremely terrifying. Now that Luo Xiang had broken through and obtained the Sword Dao inheritance in the Emperor's secret territory, he had truly soared. In a short period of time, his cultivation had skyrocketed and he had reached rank 5 martial king. Moreover, he had killed a genius of the heavenly god sect with a single slash. Such a person would become more terrifying the longer he had broken through to the martial king realm. Back in the Emperor Tsong's secret territory, Luo Xiang had just broken through to the martial king realm and his potential had not been fully unleashed. Now, he was truly terrifying. Luo Xiang, our heavenly god sect has not offended your life and death sword sect. Why did you kill our people? The leader of the heavenly god sect asked coldly. It's simple. I don't like you. Luo Xiang said indifferently. Then, he stepped out and returned to the life and death sword sect's platform. Good job, good job. I'm starting to like this Luo Xiang. Tian Xue grinned. The competition continued. When it was Dragon God Valley's turn, Han Sun sent out the person with the lowest cultivation level to challenge the other sect's geniuses. The person was defeated. Soon, the 4th round was over. In this round, Dragon God Valley had lost 2 people, lost 1, and won 1. There were still 21 people left. However, up until now, those who remained in Dragon God Valley were getting stronger and stronger. Chapter 1532. From the 5th round onwards, the survival rate of the Dragon God Valley increased. Although the Heavenly God Sect, Empyrean Demon Sect, and Desire Poison Sect continued to send out their experts to challenge the weaker members of the Dragon God Valley, it became more difficult to kill them. In the 5th round, one person managed to escape from the fighting stage, saving his life. The other 2 had almost escaped from the fighting stage, but they were killed in the end. In this round, the Dragon God Valley had lost 2 and lost 2. There were 17 people left. No one challenged Lu Ming in this round. It seemed that they were not confident and wanted to wait until the end of the round. In the 6th round, the Divine Dragon Valley lost again, but they managed to keep their lives. Although the Divine Celestial Sect and the other 2 sects wanted to kill the Divine Dragon Valley's people, they were all pushed off the battle stage. The atmosphere in the Dragon God Valley finally became better. After this round, there were 13 people left in the Dragon God Valley. Other than the Life and Death Sword faction, the Dragon God Valley had the least number of people left. This was only the 6th round, and most of the other sects still had around 30 people left. Some of the smaller sects had around 20 people left, while others had close to 30. The Heavenly God Sect and Empyrean Demon Sect had around 30 people left. Then, 2 more rounds passed. There were only 5 people left in the Dragon God Valley. They were Lu Ming, Han Sun, Tian Xue, Xueqi, and Ziyu. After so many rounds, no one had challenged Tian Xue and Xueqi. In the battle 10 days ago, Tian Xue and Xueqi had displayed their terrifying battle prowess. To be able to fight against Mo He, Wu Qiandu, and other geniuses, their battle prowess was incomparably strong. It was normal that they had not been challenged before. At this point, the 8th round had passed. From the 9th round onwards, the Heavenly God sect's faces started to turn sour. The remaining 5 people from the Dragon God Valley were not weak. They did not know who to challenge. "I'll go and kill Lu Ming." A young man in the 6th layer of the martial royal realm stepped out and flew onto the fighting stage. "Lu Ming, come out." The young man in the peak 6th layer of the martial royal realm condensed a spear of divine punishment and pointed it at Lu Ming. "That's what I want." Lu Ming smiled coldly. He took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring. Bas, bas, wang. The heavenly god sex genius emitted a light screen from his body. Even the armor of an emperor's spiritual weapon appeared. Evidently, that person had learned his lesson. From the very start, he had set up layers of defenses around himself. He's much more careful now, but he's still going to die. Lu Ming said. "Shameless boasting. You're the one who's going to die. Kill." The heavenly divinity sex genius shouted. He took a step forward and turned into a ray of sacred light, rushing towards Lu Ming. Whoosh! The spear of divine retribution streaked across the void, emitting a terrifying whistling sound. Boom! Lu Ming punched out, colliding with the spear of divine punishment. With a loud explosion, Lu Ming remained motionless, while the other party retreated several steps. "Your combat strength is just so." Lu Ming smiled faintly. "I'm not done yet." The other party snapped furiously as a milky white book flew out from his forehead. The book was an emperor's spiritual weapon. The book flipped open, emitting rays of white light that landed on the figure of the heavenly divinity sex genius. His aura became stronger. A long spear appeared in his hand, which was milky white in color. He lashed out with the spear, which was stronger than before. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming threw out a few punches in succession. Terrifying fist intent swept across the void, aiming at his opponent. His opponent kept lashing out with his spear, which transformed into terrifying spears of divine punishment that collided with Lu Ming's fist intents. Terrifying explosions took place on the fighting stage. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged more than 10 blows. That Lu Ming's strength is incredible. He's only a peak 4th layer martial dominator realm cultivator, yet he's able to fight against a peak 6th layer martial dominator realm genius. It's indeed terrifying, but Lu Ming's cultivation is 2 layers lower than his. I'm sure he's going to lose. Not necessarily. The person from the heavenly divinity sect only has a middle-tier earthly astral body, while Lu Ming has a superior-tier earthly astral body. The crowd discussed among themselves. Die, die. The strength of the genius from the heavenly divinity sect became even more ferocious as he continued to attack Lu Ming. "Is this your limit? Let's end this then," Lu Ming said in a cold tone. Boom! It was as if Lu Ming's fist intent could penetrate the void, shattering the spears of divine punishment that the genius from the heavenly divinity sect had thrown out. Bang! Then, Lu Ming took a step forward and threw a punch that destroyed everything. He landed a heavy blow on the other party's chest. The force surged and broke through several layers of the other party's defense, bombarding the other party's armor. The armor vibrated as the genius from the heavenly divinity sect was sent flying. He slid on the fighting ring for a long distance and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. Lu Ming had not used his full strength just now. Now, Lu Ming unleashed his full strength. Although his opponent's cultivation was 2 layers higher than his, Lu Ming's astral body and chaotic domain were much stronger than his opponent's astral body and chaotic domain. He was able to make up for the difference between their cultivation levels. The genius from the heavenly divinity sect was furious. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so powerful. Die! Lu Ming took a step forward and closed in on his opponent. "I have an emperor's spiritual weapon to protect me. You can't kill me." The genius from the heavenly divinity sect roared and retreated quickly. "Is that so?" Lu Ming sneered as an emperor's spiritual weapon spear appeared in his hand. Swoosh! The long spear pierced towards his opponent. 13th strike. The terrifying spear radiance shattered his opponent's counterattack and pierced his armor. "It's useless," his opponent shouted. However, in the next moment, his face changed drastically and became filled with fear. At the tip of Lu Ming's long spear, 13 layers of attack power were instantly stacked and erupting with terrifying penetrating power. Puff! The terrifying penetrative power directly pierced through the other party's spiritual emperor armor. The long spear pierced through the other party's heart. Buzz! Then, the long spear vibrated and the land of destruction exploded. His opponent's spiritual deity disappeared before he could escape. The genius from the heavenly divinity sect was dead. Hiss, gasps could be heard from the crowd. A genius who had cultivated a medium earth spiritual body and was at the peak of the 6th layer martial royal realm was killed by Lu Ming. The genius from the heavenly divinity sect wanted to kill Lu Ming, but he was killed by Lu Ming again. This level of prodigy was considered the pinnacle of existence among all the participants of the treasure peddling meeting, except for the prodigies who had cultivated the superior earth spiritual body. However, a superior earth spiritual body was extremely rare. There were not many of them in the entire Zhongzhou. Of the 13 top sects in the treasure sorting meeting, each sect had at most 1 or 2 superior earth spiritual bodies. Some sects did not even have one. It could be said that Lu Ming's combat strength was one of the top geniuses in the treasure sorting meeting. Chapter 1533. Good job! Tian Xue yelled excitedly. So did the people from Dragon God Valley. The Celestial Divinity sect had lost 3 level 6 martial royal realm geniuses. Lu Ming had killed 2 and Luo Xiang had killed 1. Damn it! Lu Ming deserves to die. Someone from the Celestial Divinity sect shouted angrily. There weren't many geniuses with medium earth spiritual bodies in the Celestial Divinity sect. Now that Lu Ming had killed several of them, it was a great loss. Lu Ming put away his spoils and returned to the platform. Next, it was the Sky Demon sect's turn. I'll go. Someone from the Sky Demon sect stepped forward. It's him, Emohi. Emohi is going to fight personally. Who will he challenge? Many people were shocked. Emohi was a top genius in the Sky Demon sect. He had a high earth spiritual body and was at the peak of level 6 martial royal realm. He had a high chance of becoming one of the top 10 geniuses in the Tsong prefecture. The top 10 geniuses of the Tsong prefecture all had high earth spiritual bodies. In theory, anyone who cultivated a high earth spiritual body would have a chance of becoming one of the top 10 geniuses. Of course, it was just a chance. Even if one had a high earth spiritual body and had the same cultivation, there would be differences in combat strength. For example, the strength of one's domain martial technique, one's combat strength, and various secret techniques would determine one's combat strength. Emohi's gaze landed on the 5 people from the Divine Dragon Valley. His gaze swept across them before finally landing on Ziyu. I knew he would challenge me, Ziyu said with a smile. Ziyu, if you can't beat him, get off the platform and save your life, Han Sun warned. Although Ziyu's combat strength was strong, he didn't have a high earth spiritual body and was no match for Emohi. I know. Don't worry. Ziyu stepped onto the platform. Without further ado, the battle began. Ziyu was a genius from Purple Dragon Valley. He cultivated the Purple Dragon Battle Body, which was a medium earth spiritual body. His domain had reached the peak of level 7 and his domain martial technique had reached the peak. His combat strength was astonishing. Although Ziyu's spiritual body was inferior to Emohi's spiritual body, the difference in their combat strength was not too great. It was impossible for Emohi to kill Ziyu in a short period of time. The two exchanged close to 100 moves before Ziyu lost and was blasted off the battle stage. Ziyu had failed. There were only 4 people left in the Dragon God Valley. The challenges continued, and soon, it was the Desire Poison sect's turn. The leader of the Desire Poison sect looked at the 4 from the Dragon God Valley and hesitated. None of the remaining 4 from Dragon God Valley were simple. If they wanted to send someone to fight, they could only send someone with an earthly spiritual body, a peak 6th layer martial emperor realm cultivator. Moreover, they wouldn't be able to kill Lu Ming and the others. Even if they could defeat one of Lu Ming's group, they would be injured, which would be disadvantageous for them in the following battles. In the end, the Desire Poison sect sent out a weakling. For the first time, they didn't challenge the Dragon God Valley but another sect. The Heavenly God sect's leader's face darkened. However, he knew that the Heavenly God sect, the Sky Universe Demon sect and the Desire Poison sect had teamed up to deal with the Dragon God Valley. However, the 3 sects all wanted the final victory. If they sent out their best geniuses now, both sides would be injured and it would be disadvantageous for them in the following battles. After the Desire Poison sect, the 9 Heaven Sword sect sent someone to fight. Soon, it was the Dragon God Valley's turn. A cold killing intent flashed in Han Sun's eyes as he said, "Now, let's start the counterattack. Tian Xue, you go." "Good, haha, it's finally my turn." Tian Xue laughed. He was about to explode from holding back. Now it was finally his turn. Boom. Tian Xue landed on the battle stage and his eyes fell on a young man from the Heavenly God sect.
He shouted, "You come down and die."
Do you think I'm afraid of you? The young man from the Heavenly God sect jumped onto the battle stage and attacked Tian Xue. Go to hell! Tian Xue roared. He was like a mad dragon as he swung his giant hammer at his opponent, ignoring his opponent's attack and defense. Boom! The young man from the Heavenly God sect screamed in pain as he was smashed into a pile of meat by Tian Xue's hammer. Die, die! Sky Hammer roared. His huge hammer danced in the air, causing the void to rumble. His eyes were filled with malevolent killing intent. Good kill! The disciples of the Dragon God Valley cheered happily. Han Sun and Lu Ming revealed a cold smile on their faces. The Dragon God Valley's counterattack was finally going to start. This was Lu Ming's plan. First protect the people, then counterattack. This was to preserve the lives of the Dragon God Valley's disciples and leave the strongest one alive. At the beginning, many people were killed. They had no choice but to do so. If they didn't do so, the weaker disciples would all die. Saving the counterattack for the last was the only way to preserve the lives of the Dragon God Valley's disciples. The disciples of the Heavenly God sect gritted their teeth in anger. The people from the other sects were deep in thought. They seemed to have thought of something. Sky Hammer returned to the platform. After that, another 3 matches were held. This round ended, and the 10th round began. It was the Heavenly God sect's turn to challenge again. At this moment, everyone's eyes were on the Heavenly God sect. How would the Heavenly God sect fight? Would they continue to challenge the Dragon God Valley? Who would they send? At this moment, the leader of the Heavenly God sect looked gloomy and hesitant. He was in a difficult situation. The remaining 4 from the Dragon God Valley had terrifying combat strength. If he were to send someone to challenge them, he would definitely send the strongest Sky Prides. Sending the others would only be sending them to their deaths. Moreover, it wouldn't be easy to defeat Lu Ming, Tian Xue, and the others. Even if they could win, they would definitely be injured and their combat strength would be greatly reduced. If the Heavenly God sect's strongest cultivators were injured, the other sect's strongest cultivators would definitely not let go of this opportunity. They would challenge the Heavenly God sect's strongest cultivators. In this way, the Heavenly God sect's strongest cultivators would probably be eliminated. Without their strongest cultivators, the Heavenly God sect might not even be able to enter the top 10. The Heavenly God sect was now in a passive position. The Sky Prides of the other sects had obviously thought of this and were looking forward to it. How could this be? The leader of the Heavenly God sect clenched his fists tightly. Similarly, the leaders of the Sky Universe Demon sect and Desire Poison sect felt the same. Hey, are you guys going to challenge them or not? Don't dawdle and waste other people's time. Lu Ming said calmly as if he was waiting for the Heavenly God sect's challenge. Lu Ming. Many disciples of the Heavenly God sect gritted their teeth and glared at Lu Ming. However, they definitely wouldn't dare to challenge Lu Ming. They would only be courting death. Brother Wu, Brother Demon. At this moment, the leader of the Heavenly God sect sent a message to the leaders of the Sky Universe Demon sect and Desire Poison sect. How about this? Let's put the Dragon God Valley aside and eliminate the weakest sects first. Then, we'll gather our strength to deal with the Dragon God Valley. What do you think? Alright, I agree. Chapter 1534. The leaders of the Heavenly Divinity sect, Empyrean Demon sect, and Desire Poison sect discussed and decided to eliminate the weakest sects before joining forces to deal with Lu Ming and the others from the Divine Dragon Valley. They had no choice but to do so. If they went all out to deal with Lu Ming and the rest, the other sects would most likely take advantage of them. In that case, they might not even be able to enter the top 10 and participate in this year's treasure exhibition. They could not accept that no matter what. If they eliminated the weakest sects, they would at least be able to enter the top 10 and participate in the treasure sorting meeting. They would then deal with Lu Ming and the others after they entered the top 10. That was their plan. Sure enough, the Heavenly Divinity sect sent out a LV5 Martial Royal to challenge a LV4 Martial Royal from the Piyuan family. The Piyuan family was one of the weakest forces. It seems like the Heavenly Divinity sect is afraid. Why don't you dare to challenge my junior brothers from the Divine Dragon Valley? ALV7 Martial Royal from the Divine Dragon Valley said as he looked at the Heavenly Divinity sect with disdain. They had been mocked by the Heavenly Divinity sect, saying that they would definitely not be able to participate in the treasure sorting meeting. Now they could finally fight back. What's the rush? That's right. The best part is yet to come. The Heavenly Divinity Sect's LV7 Marshal Royal and above snorted. Han Sun, that's a good plan. An old voice came from a pavilion. It was the Saint Realm Elder of the Divine Dragon Valley. Elder, this plan was proposed by junior brother Lu Ming. Han Sun bowed to the pavilion and said, Not bad. Continue to work hard. Make those sects pay a price. Otherwise, do you think that the Divine Dragon Valley is easy to bully? The Saint Realm Elder of the Divine Dragon Valley continued. Don't worry, Elder. I guarantee that you'll be satisfied, Lu Ming said with a smile. At that moment, the battle had already begun. The Heavenly Divinity Sect's genius defeated the Piyuan family's genius easily. Then, it was the Heavenly Divinity Sect's turn. They also sent out an expert to challenge the Piyuan family and defeated them easily. When it was the Desire Poison Sect's turn, they would also challenge the Piyuan family. Everyone understood that the three great sects of the Heavenly God Sect were going to join hands to eliminate the weaker sections. The Piyuan family was helpless. They couldn't even resist. This time, the Piyuan clan didn't have anyone with a spiritual body who had reached the top of the 6th Huang Qi layer. They only had one spiritual body, so the cultivators of the 4th Huang Qi layer couldn't fight back. Soon, it was Dragon God Valley's turn. This time, Xueqi had challenged the Heavenly God Sect to a duel, and had killed a 6th layer martial dominator realm genius of the Heavenly God Sect, causing the crowd of the Heavenly God Sect to wear unpleasant expressions. Previously, they had hunted down the disciples of the Dragon God Valley. They were so arrogant that the Dragon God Valley could hardly retaliate. But now, the people of Dragon God Valley were hunting them down, and they couldn't fight back. They were so depressed that they wanted to die. In the 11th round, the Heavenly God Sect, Sky Universe Demon Sect, and Desire Poison Sect continued to challenge the Piyuan family. When it was Dragon God Valley's turn, it was finally Han Sun's turn. Han Sun also challenged a 6th layer martial dominator realm genius of the Heavenly God Sect. Han Sun had a spiritual body, and his cultivation was at the peak of the 6th Huang Qi layer. He was extremely powerful, and his opponent couldn't even rush down the fighting stage. He was easily killed by Han Sun. The Heavenly God Sect could only endure. They had to endure until 3 other sects were eliminated, and then they would fight back. In the 12th round, the 3 great sects of the Heavenly God Sect continued to challenge the Piyuan clan. Because there were other sects challenging the Piyuan clan, the Piyuan clan only had a few people left. They were doomed to be eliminated. This round, it was finally Lu Ming's turn. Whoosh! Lu Ming stepped forward and appeared on the fighting stage. He looked at the Heavenly God Sect. The crowd wasn't surprised at all. Dragon God Valley had come to take revenge by killing the people of the Heavenly God Sect. When Lu Ming looked at the remaining geniuses of the Heavenly God Sect, their faces changed drastically. A few of the 6th layer martial dominators turned pale. In the end, Lu Ming's eyes fell on a white-haired young man. You come down and die, Lu Ming said coldly. What? Lu Ming is going to challenge by MO. The crowd was shocked. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting. Indeed. I didn't expect that Lu Ming would challenge by MO now. In recent years, there have been many geniuses in the Celestial Sect. There are many powerful people. It is said that there are 3 superior-grade Earth spirit bodies who are attending the treasure sorting meeting. Bai Mo is one of them. That's right. Bai Mo is one of the top experts in the treasure sorting meeting. Many people spoke excitedly. The battle between the top experts was about to begin. Junior brother Lu Ming. Han Sun's eyes lit up. Lu Ming's action was out of his expectation. He thought that Lu Ming would challenge an ordinary 6th layer martial dominator. You want to challenge me? Bai Mo said coldly as killing intent surged from his body. That's right. Lu Ming said. Well, I wanted to kill you later. Since you're in a hurry to die, I'll send you on your way first. Bai Mo said coldly. His body moved and he appeared in the fighting ring, facing Lu Ming. Is that so? The Heavenly God Sect will be heartbroken if I kill you. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. White energy cut. At this moment, Bai Mo moved. A snow-white sword gleam slashed toward Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. Before the sword arrived, the sharp intent pierced the air and produced a whistling sound. Not everyone in the Heavenly God Sect practiced the divine skill. Many of them practiced other skills. Bas. A sovereign spiritual weapon appeared in Lu Ming's hand.
He shook the long spear and it turned into a spear radiance that pierced through the air.
The spear radiance and the sword radiance collided and a dense force spread out in all directions. Lu Ming and Bai Mo were already engaged in a fierce battle. Bai Mo's realm was very special. It was a vast expanse of white and every ray of white radiance was a ray of sword chi. Coupled with Bai Mo's realm martial technique, its power was terrifying. The dense sword radiance pierced towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming used the 13 strikes. His long spear was like a dragon, sweeping across the void. Each strike contained 13 rays of attack power.
The endless sword radiance was destroyed by the long spear and dissipated in the air.
The two figures intertwined on the fighting ring and collided with each other from time to time. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged more than 50 blows.
Divine Gate Seal.
In the process of the battle, Lu Ming used the 9 seals of the Divine Gate. Suddenly, 6 sealed doors appeared and emitted rays of light to seal Bai Mo. Bai Mo's pupils contracted and he shouted, "God Bai, sword shadow." Bai Mo's body emitted a white light like a sword. In a flash, he rushed out of the 9 seals of the Divine Gate. What a wonderful spiritual body! Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Chapter 1535. He could not help but admit that the upper earthly spiritual body was extremely talented and powerful. Bai Mo's strength was absolutely shocking. With his cultivation of the peak 6th layer martial dominator realm, he could easily kill an 8th layer martial dominator realm expert. Divine White Sword Formation. Bai Mo uttered a roar as he charged out from the 9 seals of the God Gate. His eyes turned completely white as strange runes appeared in them. Bas! In the sky, densely packed patterns suddenly appeared, like a huge white array formation. Following this, the same runes appeared under Lu Ming's feet, which looked like a giant formation. They surrounded Lu Ming from above and below. This is not a formation, but a secret technique of the spiritual body. Lu Ming was startled. Some powerful spiritual bodies were able to produce secret techniques of the spiritual body. In other words, they were brought along by the bloodline. For example, Lu Ming's devouring force was brought along by the bloodline of the 9 dragons. Even after refining the divine dragon flesh, it still retained the devouring force. Other bloodlines might also retain some powerful secret techniques after transforming into the spiritual body. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Countless sword intents were emitted from the 2 runes and fired toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming had no way to retreat in all directions. Wind element technique. Lu Ming's heart shuddered as a blue force from the air-frozen bead entered Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming executed the wind element technique, causing his figure to turn into a breeze and float in the air. Lu Ming's figure swayed, leaving behind a string of afterimages. He flashed among the infinite sword auras, avoiding the sword auras. However, there were too many sword intents. In such a narrow space, Lu Ming could not dodge them all regardless of how fast his movement was. Whoosh! A sharp sword intent pierced toward Lu Ming's chest. Lu Ming's body was covered with the primal chaos domain, resisting the sword chi. Sizzling sounds could be heard as the sword chi pierced through the primal chaos domain and stabbed into Lu Ming's chest. It wasn't that the chaotic domain wasn't strong. First, the sword chi was too terrifying. Second, Lu Ming's chaotic domain was too weak. It was only level 4. At least for Bai Mo, his level was too low, so he couldn't defend against it. If it was a level 5 chaotic domain, the sword chi would not have been able to break through its defenses. However, the primal chaos domain had greatly weakened the power of the sword chi. Roar! At that instant, a dragon's roar could be heard from Lu Ming's body as a layer of dragon scales appeared on his body. Clang! The sword chi struck the dragon scales, causing sparks to fly. The sword chi collapsed, and the dragon scales on Lu Ming's chest were slightly damaged, revealing a trace of blood. What terrifying sword chi! Lu Ming's heart stirred. Even an 8th layer martial dominator realm cultivator would be slain by the sword intent from the 2 patterns. Whoosh! Whoosh! More energy poured into the air-frozen pearl. Lu Ming activated the wind origin skill to the maximum and his speed increased. Lu Ming's figure was everywhere in the sky. However, Lu Ming couldn't rush out of the 2 patterns because the 2 patterns had covered the entire fighting ring. If he rushed out of the pattern, it would mean that he had rushed out of the fighting ring. In that case, Lu Ming would lose this round. If it had been any other place, Lu Ming would have rushed out long ago. Haha, Lu Ming is doomed to die under Senior Brother by Mo's White God Sword Array. That's right. Senior Brother by Mo's eye technique has killed many high-level martial dominators. Once one is trapped in it, one will die unless one's cultivation is much higher than his. Humph. Lu Ming actually took the initiative to challenge Senior Brother by Mo. He's courting death. Seeing that Lu Ming was in danger, the disciples of the Celestial Sect were in a good mood. They couldn't help but mock and ridicule him. On the other hand, Tian Xue and Xueqi were worried. In the fighting ring, Bai Mo's eyes had turned pure white. There were lines on his pupils that were exactly the same as the two patterns. Bai Mo stepped on the void and landed on the pattern above. His territory seemed to have merged with the pattern. Suddenly, the pattern became even more terrifying. The sword chi whistled and its speed increased greatly. Lu Ming, today is the day you die. Bai Mo said coldly. It's too early for you to be happy. Lu Ming said indifferently. At the same time, Lu Ming continued to form seals with his hands. 9 seals of the Holy Gate. A deep voice could be heard as 6 sealed doors appeared. However, this time, the sealed doors were not facing Bai Mo, but Lu Ming himself. The 6 sealed doors floated around Lu Ming and shone brightly. The sword chi that was aimed at Lu Ming was suppressed by the power of the sealed doors and stopped in the air. 9 dragons stomping the sky. Following that, Lu Ming took 9 consecutive steps. The power of the 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps erupted, dispersing the sword aura below him. With the help of this force, Lu Ming's figure soared into the sky. Unknowingly, the Emperor's spiritual weapon Long Spear appeared in his hands again. He merged with the holy spiritual weapon and unleashed the 13 strikes. He shot up into the sky and attacked by Mo. Swoosh. Swoosh. In the process of shooting up into the sky, 2 black holy swords appeared in Lu Ming's eyes. Holy Sword Skill. Holy Sword Skill was a spiritual attack. It broke through Bai Mo's pattern and rushed into Bai Mo's body. Ah! At that moment, Bai Mo screamed in pain. It was as if his soul was being torn apart. As a martial emperor's cultivation increased, his spiritual spirit would become stronger and stronger. At the same time, his soul would become stronger as well. The higher the cultivation level, the stronger the spiritual strength. Lu Ming's soul had been refined by the alchemy Calamity Bell. His spiritual strength was dozens of times stronger than a martial artist of the same level. During this period of time, he had been cultivating the Holy Sword skill and his spiritual strength had become stronger. If Lu Ming was facing a martial artist of the same level, Lu Ming would be able to destroy his soul with the Holy Sword skill. Even a genius like Bai Mo, whose cultivation level was 2 levels higher than Lu Ming's, felt as if his soul was about to be torn apart. At that moment, the 2 patterns under Bai Mo's feet dimmed. Bam! Lu Ming broke through the patterns and pierced Bai Mo's body with his sharp spear. Ah! Bai Mo screamed in agony. Then, under Lu Ming's destructive power, his body and soul were destroyed. Bai Mo was dead. At that moment, there was a sudden silence around the fighting ring. Almost everyone opened their eyes wide and looked at the fighting ring in shock. Just a moment ago, Lu Ming had been completely suppressed and his life was in danger. However, in the next moment, the situation had been reversed. Lu Ming had killed Bai Mo with 1 blow. The change had happened so quickly that no one could react. Bai Mo had been killed and the patterns on the fighting ring had disappeared. Bai Mo's body fell heavily on the fighting ring and it had awakened everyone. There was an uproar at the scene. Senior Brother Bai Mo. Junior Brother Bai Mo. Ah, Lu Ming. You deserve to die. Angry shouts could be heard from the divine sect's side. Bai Mo had a superior earth spiritual body. There were not many geniuses like him in the divine sect. Every one of them had the potential to become one of the top 10 geniuses in the Tsong state. In the future, they would have a great chance to become a martial sage. They might even have a chance to become a supreme sage. To a sect, each of these geniuses was an immeasurable amount of wealth. Chapter 1536. On the other hand, the disciples of the Dragon God Valley were very excited. Good job. Isn't the Heavenly God sect arrogant? That's the way to kill them. Lu Ming is invincible. Many people shouted. Qiu Yingying, Qiu Hao, and the others who were close to Lu Ming were so excited that their faces turned red. Previously, many disciples of the Dragon God Valley had been killed. The disciples of the Dragon God Valley had nowhere to vent their anger and frustration. Now, they had vented all their anger. A genius with a superior earth spiritual body was more valuable than all the disciples of the Dragon God Valley combined. The Heavenly God sect had only sent 3 such geniuses to participate in the small meeting. Now, one of them had died. It was a great loss. Trash, Lu Ming said coldly in the fighting ring. He took Bai Mo's storage ring with his hand.
Ah, Lu Ming, I'll kill you. You're dead. Some geniuses of the 7th layer martial royal realm and above shouted angrily in the stands.
What? Disciples below the 7th layer can't do it. Do you want to fight?
The disciples of the 7th layer martial royal realm and above said coldly in the stands. The disciples of the Heavenly God sect looked even more upset.
Lu Ming's strength has reached this level? Xueqi said in the Heavenly God sect's stands. He clenched his fists tightly. Beside him sat Eden and Ji Hongchen. They were all from the continent of godly ruins. A few years ago, they had competed with Lu Ming. Now, Lu Ming had completely surpassed them. The strongest among them was Eden. However, he was only a 2nd layer martial emperor at the moment. Xueqi and Ji Hongchen were still stuck at the peak of the 1st layer martial royal realm. Eden and Ji Hongchen had a complicated look on their faces. Xueqi, Ji Hongchen, after this meeting, I plan to leave the Heavenly God sect and train myself. What about you two? Eden sent a message to Xueqi and Ji Hongchen.
The 3 of them were not on good terms in the continent of godly ruins.
They were even competitors. However, after coming to the Yuan continent, the 3 of them became closer. After all, they came from the same place. You want to leave the Heavenly God sect? With your current cultivation, it's very dangerous for you to leave the sect and venture outside. Xueqi's face changed. Only danger is worth tempering. If I die on the road of tempering myself, I can only blame myself for not being skilled enough. But if we stay in the Heavenly Divine sect, outsiders like us won't be able to receive good training. We'll be no different from odd job workers. We'll never be able to catch up to Lu Ming.
Eden seemed to have made up her mind.
I'll go with you.
Ji Hongchen pondered for a moment before he spoke.
Xueqi's complexion changed for a while before he grit his teeth and said, I will continue to stay in the Heavenly God sect. All right. Eden nodded. Everyone had their own ambitions, and he would not force them. On the fighting ring, Lu Ming put away the storage ring and returned to platform number 10 in a flash.
Lu Ming, well done, ha.
Tian Xue laughed loudly. Xuening Xin and Han Sun also smiled. The disciples of the Celestial God sect flew down to the fighting stage and took Bai Mo's body away. The competition continued. Soon, this round ended, and a new round began. It was the Heavenly God sect's turn to challenge again. The leader of the Heavenly God sect glanced coldly at Lu Ming and the others. But in the end, he still sent people to challenge the Piyuan family. They could only endure for now. Now that they had lost a top expert, their strength was greatly reduced. They did not dare to fight with the Dragon God Valley now as they were afraid that they would not be able to enter the top 10. After the Heavenly God sect, the Heavenly Universe Demon sect and the Desire Poison sect followed in the footsteps of the Heavenly God sect to challenge the Piyuan family. When it was the Dragon God Valley's turn, Tian Xue challenged and killed a 6th rank expert. Just like that, a few rounds passed. The first sect to be eliminated was finally born. The Piyuan family was eliminated by the Heavenly God sect, the Heavenly Universe Demon sect, and the Desire Poison sect. Now, there were only 12 sects left. The competition continued. When it was Lu Ming's turn to challenge, he did not challenge the top expert of the other side this time. Instead, he chose a weaker opponent. The competition went on one round after another. The atmosphere became more and more oppressive. The faces of the Heavenly God sect became more and more unpleasant. Every round, the Dragon God Valley would kill one of their sky prides. Those who were selected to participate in the small gathering were the top sky prides. The loss of each of them would cause the Heavenly God sect heartache. But now, they were being killed one after another. When the 19th round ended, the Heavenly God sect only had 16 people left. The losses were beyond imagination. The Dragon God Valley still had 4 people left. At this time, another 2 weaker sects were eliminated. Finally, there were only 10 sects left. These 10 sects were equivalent to obtaining the right to participate in the treasure meeting. When the 20th round began, it was the Heavenly God sect's turn to challenge again. Brother Wu, Brother Mo, it's time to eliminate the Dragon God Valley. The leader of the Heavenly God sect said coldly. His voice was filled with endless coldness. Great, that's what I want. The Heavenly Universe Demon Sex Mo's eyes were especially cold.
I've been waiting for this moment.
The desire poison sex Wu Qindao's eyes were even colder. Poisonous insects crawled out of his body and swam around him. Brother Wang, why don't we work together to eliminate the Dragon God Valley? The leader of the Heavenly God sect looked at the leader of the Nine Heaven Sword sect. The Nine Heaven Sword sect had a good relationship with the Heavenly God sect. On the contrary, they didn't have a good relationship with the Dragon God Valley. He wanted the Nine Heaven Sword sect to deal with Lu Ming and the others. The eyes of the Nine Heaven Sword sect's leader flickered as he looked in the direction of the Dragon God Valley. He said with a hint of fear, I won't get involved in your business. He didn't want to get involved in the conflict between the Heavenly God sect, Heavenly Universe Demon sect, Desire Poison sect and the Dragon God Valley. Moreover, the Dragon God Valley wasn't easy to deal with. Humph. The leader of the Heavenly God sect's face darkened when he heard the Nine Heaven Sword sect's rejection. Hey, are you guys going to challenge us or not? Stop wasting time.
Tian Chue carried his hammer and looked at the Heavenly God sect's direction.
Since you guys are in a hurry to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Luanying, you're up. The leader of the Heavenly God sect said to a black-robed figure.
I've been waiting for this moment.
The black-robed figure said coldly, causing the hearts of many Heavenly God sect's disciples to tremble. They were well aware of how terrifying the black-robed chaos shadows was. Whoosh! A shadow flashed and Luanying appeared on the fighting stage. Many of the weaker ones didn't even see how he appeared on the fighting stage.
You come down. A pair of cold eyes stared at Tian Chue from within the black robe and said coldly,
Haha, it's finally my turn.
Tian Chue laughed.
Tian Chue, you have to be careful. This person is one of the 3 superior earthly spiritual bodies of the Heavenly God sect. He specializes in assassination techniques.
Han Sun warned with a serious expression.
Don't worry. No matter what he's good at, I'll crush him with my hammer. Chapter 1537. Boom. Tian Chue, carrying a huge hammer the size of a water tank, rushed towards the battle stage like an iron tower, and landed on the battle stage, causing the entire stage to rumble. Shorty, let Grandpa Skyhammer's hammer take care of you. Skyhammer brandished his water tank-like hammer, revealing a malevolent killing intent. Die! At this moment, Luanying moved. His body was like a shadow as he suddenly appeared in front of Skyhammer. A thin and long sword stabbed toward Skyhammer's heart. Fast, accurate, and ruthless. He was like a trained assassin. Boom! Skyhammer stomped on the ground and quickly retreated. Then, he used his huge hammer to block in front of him. Clang! Luanying's sword hit Skyhammer's hammer and bounced back. Luanying used the force of the rebound to appear above Skyhammer's head. A terrifying sword light stabbed toward Skyhammer's head. Scram! Skyhammer roared and smashed his hammer towards Luanying's head. The hammer smashed down, creating a terrifying gust of wind that caused the sky to rumble. Clang! The hammer hit Luanying's sword. However, Luanying's body seemed to be weightless. He could appear wherever he wanted. Shwa! In the next moment, Luanying's body appeared behind Skyhammer and stabbed out with his sword. Skyhammer used his huge hammer to block Luanying's attack. However, Luanying's movement technique was too fast. He constantly moved around Skyhammer's body. His sword was like a poisonous snake, aiming for Skyhammer's vital points every time.
Shadow Domain.
On the stage, Lu Ming's eyebrows slightly furrowed. Luanying had comprehended the Shadow Domain. He moved like a shadow and cultivated the assassination sword Dao. His perfect combination made him shockingly powerful. He could usually kill cultivators stronger than him in one hit. It was obvious that the opponent had arranged for Luanying to challenge Skyhammer. Luanying could counter Skyhammer and prevent him from using his brute force. Scram, scram, scram. Skyhammer became more and more furious. He kept smashing his huge hammer, creating a terrifying gust of wind that swept in all directions. Whoosh! Suddenly, a sword light stabbed out from under Skyhammer's feet. This sword came without any warning, and it was inconceivably fast. This sword was actually thrust out from the Heavenly Hammer's own shadow. This exceeded everyone's expectations.
Not good.
Han Sun and Xueqi exclaimed in shock. Roar! Tian Chue seemed to have also sensed the terrifying danger. With a roar,
The muscles on his body squirmed and a layer of dragon scales appeared on the surface of his skin.
At the same time, Tian Xue retreated rapidly to avoid the sword. Puff! The sword light continued to sweep across Tian Xue's leg. The dragon scales were cut open, revealing a deep wound. If Tian Xue had not reacted in time, one of his legs would have been chopped off. Whoosh! However, at this moment, under Tian Xue's feet, another sword light pierced towards Tian Xue from his own shadow. What a strange attack! Kill!
Sky Hammer roared as the massive hammer in his hand smashed down heavily on his own shadow.
Boom! The giant hammer directly smashed the sword light and smashed heavily on the shadow of the battle platform. The entire fighting ring shook violently. Not far away, Luan Ying's body trembled and he took a few steps back. It seemed that Sky Hammer's attack had hurt him. Whoosh! Next, Luan Ying's body flashed and disappeared. At this time, 8 more shadows appeared around the hammer. Every time the shadows appeared, a sword light would shoot out towards the hammer. Tian Xue used his massive hammer to block the enemy's attack. However, the attacks from all directions were too fast for Tian Xue to block all of them. Puff! Puff! After a while, a few wounds appeared on Tian Xue's body. They were so deep that his bones could be seen. Haha! Senior brother Luaning is going to win. A disciple from the Celestial God sect sneered. On the other hand, everyone from Dragon God Valley was watching carefully with a dark face. Barbaric Dragon Strike. Suddenly, Tian Xue roared. He grabbed the handle of his massive hammer with both hands and swung it. His entire body spun rapidly. The handle of Tian Xue's hammer was extremely long. When he swung it, it was like a hurricane sweeping in all directions. Bam! 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 The 8 shadows could not dodge at all. When they were swept by the hammer, they all collapsed. The 8 shadows collapsed and reformed into a single shadow. It was Luan Ying's shadow. At this moment, the black robe on Luan Ying's head was destroyed, revealing a dark and gloomy face. A trace of blood could be seen at the corner of his mouth. It was obvious that he was also injured by Tian Xue's attack. Shadow Sword Kill! A low voice came from Luan Ying's mouth. His body slowly became blurry and turned into a shadow. In the end, the shadow also disappeared. Luan Ying seemed to have completely disappeared from the fighting stage. Even his aura could not be sensed. A shadow-type spiritual body. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Whoosh! At this moment, a sword light pierced towards Tian Xue from the top of his head. Tian Xue swung his hammer upwards. However, at the same time, a sword light pierced towards Tian Xue's feet, left and right. Tian Xue roared angrily and quickly retreated to avoid the sword light. However, a sword light still left a sword wound on Tian Xue's body. Around the heavenly hammer, sword light constantly appeared, soundless and without any signs. Barbaric Dragon Strike. Tian Xue roared and used the same move again. He swung his giant hammer and spun it wildly. However, this time, the sword light did not disperse. Instead, it pierced through Tian Xue's attack and continued to stab towards him. Puff! Puff! A few more wounds appeared on Tian Xue's body. What's going on? Why can't we attack him? Some disciples of the Dragon God Valley asked anxiously. Tian Xue's attack was too strange. Tian Xue's attack could not hit him. It's not that he can't hit him. It's just that he can turn into a shadow, which can greatly reduce the damage done to him. Tian Xue's attack was weakened when it landed on his body. At the same time, he's too fast. Most of the attacks were dodged by him. A genius of the rank 9 Martial King realm explained on the spectator stand. Roar! Tian Xue let out a dragon roar. He took a step forward and rushed to the side of the fighting stage. It seemed that he was going to rush down the fighting stage. If you want to rush to the fighting stage, stay here. Luan Ying's cold voice came from the sky. Tian Xue pretended not to hear it and continued to rush forward. Whoosh! A terrifying sword light pierced towards Tian Xue from behind. Tian Xue, who was rushing forward, suddenly stopped and turned around. Puchi! The sword light pierced through Tian Xue's chest. Blood splattered everywhere. Die! A cold voice sounded. Luan Ying's figure appeared in front of Tian Xue. Roar! At this moment, Tian Xue let out a dragon roar. A giant barbaric dragon shadow appeared on his body. The barbaric dragon shadow clawed at Luan Ying. Oh no! Chapter 1538.
Bam!
The barbaric dragon clawed at Luan Ying's body. Luan Ying groaned as he was sent flying, spitting out blood.
Kill!
Tian Xue roared as he hurled the huge hammer in his hand. Like a meteor, it smashed into Luan Ying, who was in the air. Luan Ying screamed as his body was sent flying. The giant hammer carried Luan Ying out of the stage and landed heavily on the ground. Luan Ying spat out blood, his face as pale as paper. Luan Ying lost because Tian Xue was still on the stage.
Whoosh!
The giant hammer flew back to the stage and landed in Tian Xue's hand.
Puff!
Tian Xue's body shook as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Although he had defeated Luan Ying, he was heavily injured as well. Senior brother Tian Xue, come up and treat your injuries. Lu Ming shouted. Tian Xue channeled his true yuan and rushed up to the stage. He sat down cross-legged and started to treat his injuries. Just now, he had been injured by Luan Ying's sword multiple times. In the end, the sword had pierced through his heart. The terrifying destruction sword Qi was constantly destroying Tian Xue's spiritual body. Tian Xue had to destroy the destruction sword Qi first before he could heal.
Damn it!
The leader of the Heavenly Gods sect shouted angrily on the stage. Originally, he thought that with Luan Ying's strength and the fact that he could counter Tian Xue, he would be able to defeat Tian Xue. Although he might not be able to kill Tian Xue, defeating him shouldn't be a problem. He didn't think that Tian Xue would defeat Luan Ying in a way where both sides were injured. His plan was foiled. As a result, 2 of the 3 top experts of the Heavenly God sect had been defeated. Only the leader was left. This made the faces of the Heavenly God sect very ugly. The Heavenly Divinity sect had already announced that they would also take first place in the Treasure Ding Ding Party and achieve 3 consecutive championships. But now, there was only 1 top expert left, the leader. The other 6 level experts had almost all been killed, so there was no chance for them to take first place. This was all because of the Dragon God Valley. They wanted to deal with the Dragon God Valley, but in the end, they got themselves into trouble. Before the competition started, the Heavenly God sect probably didn't expect this. I'll leave the rest to you guys. The leader of the Heavenly God sect looked at the Sky Demon sect. Whoosh! A figure rushed out from the Sky Universe Demon sect, carrying a demon saber on his back.
It's Mo Xian.
Someone recognized this person. There were 2 geniuses from the Sky Universe Demon sect who had reached the peak of the 6th layer martial royal realm with a superior earth spiritual body. One of them was Mo, and the other was Ma Xian. Mo Xian looked at Xueqi and said, I challenge you. Many people were shocked. Indeed, the Celestial sect, the Empyrean Demon sect and the Poison sect had sent out their strongest forces to deal with the Dragon God Valley. Xueqi stepped onto the fighting ring.
Kill!
The demonic saber was unsheathed, and demonic energy soared to the sky.
Roar!
Xueqi revealed her true form and turned into a snow dragon. The 2 sides clashed fiercely. This battle was different from the one between Sky Hammer and Luan Ying. This battle was a head-on clash, and it was exceptionally fierce. Xueqi was a pure-blooded true dragon, and she was considered a genius even among true dragons. Her dragon body was as strong as a superior earth spiritual body, and she was evenly matched with Mo Xian. The 2 sides exchanged more than 200 blows, and in the end, Xueqi won by a little and knocked Mo Xian off the fighting ring. However, Xueqi was severely injured, and her injuries were even worse than Sky Hammer's. Xueqi dragged her injured body back to the fighting ring and began to heal. The Dragon God Valley had won another battle, defeating a top expert from the Sky Universe Demon sect. Could it be that the Dragon God Valley was going to be the last one? Some people had such thoughts. The challenges continued, and soon, it was the Poison sect's turn.
Whoosh!
Wu Qiandu of the Poison sect stood up and stepped onto the fighting ring. The Poison sect also had 2 top experts. Wu Qiandu was the leader of the Poison sect, and he was going to fight personally this time. Wu Qiandu's gaze shifted between Han Sun and Lu Ming. According to the rules, Sky Hammer and Xueqi had just fought, so they couldn't challenge them now. Only by challenging Lu Ming and Han Sun could they challenge Sky Hammer and Xueqi. In the end, Wu Qiandu's gaze landed on Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you managed to escape with your sacred weapon the last time. Now, come down and accept your death. Wu Qiandu said coldly. Last time, Lu Ming had used his black wings to create a gust of wind that rendered his poison gas useless. Now that he couldn't use his sacred weapon, he wanted to see how Lu Ming would defend against his poison gas. Another one who wants to die. Lu Ming smiled indifferently. He took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring. Wang. As soon as Lu Ming's feet landed, Wu Qiandu took action. Densely packed poisonous insects swarmed toward Lu Ming, covering the sky and the sun like a mass of dark clouds. Wang. Lu Ming's chaotic domain spread out and shrouded the endless poisonous insects. Fire! Lu Ming whispered, and the chaotic domain turned into a flame domain. The flames engulfed the insects, and sizzling sounds could be heard as the insects were burned to ashes. But at this time, Wu Qiandu waved his hand and toads appeared. Each toad was covered in pustules and emitted a foul smell. They pounced toward Lu Ming. In the air, the toads spat out poisonous water that enveloped Lu Ming. When the poisonous water landed on the chaotic domain, it actually emitted a sizzling sound of corrosion. Kill! At the same time, Wu Qiandu charged toward Lu Ming. A soft whip appeared in his hand. The whip was covered with poisonous thorns and it swept toward Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming used the hell-suppressing heaven skill and punched out continuously, bombarding the toads and soft whips. However, when Lu Ming's fist force bombarded those toads, they actually self-exploded and turned into a pool of thick water that gushed toward Lu Ming, emitting a disgusting stench. Once he smelled this stench, Lu Ming felt slightly dizzy. Circulating his true yuan, he regained consciousness. What a terrifying poison! Lu Ming thought. Shwa! Shwa! Poisonous insects kept gushing out of Wu Qiandu's body. Next, there were toads and poisonous snakes that attacked Lu Ming. As for himself, he controlled the soft whip and was extremely agile as he whipped Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming suddenly shouted and used the divine sword art. Two black sword lights burst out from Lu Ming's eyes and rushed toward Wu Qiandu. But at this time, a layer of poisonous insects appeared on the surface of Wu Qiandu's body, forming a shield. The divine sword art attacked the poisonous insects and killed a large number of them, but Wu Qiandu was unharmed. Soul attacks can ignore ordinary defenses and attack the soul. However, these insects of mine have spirits. With spirits, your soul attacks won't be able to penetrate them. Last time you used it once. This time, I'm prepared. Hee. Wu Qiandu sneered. It seems that soul attacks are not omnipotent. There are still weaknesses. Chapter 1539. Soul attacks were something that ordinary defenses would not be able to defend against, and they would be able to pierce right through. When facing the evil spirit sex Elder Mo Hun, Lu Ming's primal chaos domain and bubble spacetime domain could only weaken a portion of the attack. One could imagine that normal defenses would be useless. However, soul attacks also had their weaknesses. If a living being stood in front of them, the soul attack would not be able to pass through. For example, Wu Qiandu had used poisonous insects to block in front of him. Although the poisonous insects were small, they were still sentient and had souls. Soul attacks would attack the poisonous insects, and Wu Qiandu, who was behind the poisonous insects, was naturally unharmed. He dared to challenge Lu Ming because he had a foolproof plan. However, Lu Ming's expression was still calm. If soul attacks were useless, would Lu Ming not be able to deal with Wu Qiandu? Whoosh! Lu Ming covered his body with the primal chaos domain and soared into the sky. Boom! 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 Following which, Lu Ming looked down from a high vantage point and threw continuous punches with his fists. Streaks of terrifying fist energy shot out like meteors towards Wu Qiandu, the poisonous insects, and the poisonous snakes. A large number of poisonous insects and toads were killed. The battle stage was littered with the corpses of insects, toads, and snakes. Pools of venom covered the battle stage, emitting a disgusting stench. Wisps of poisonous gas filled the battle stage. Haha, Lu Ming. Thank you for your cooperation. The poison array has been set up. Now you can die. On the battle stage, Wu Qiandu smiled coldly. Green poisonous gas spread out from his body and merged with the poisonous gas on the battle stage. The entire battle stage was shrouded in poisonous gas. Thousand poison hands, Wu Qiandu said coldly. The poisonous gas rolled and turned into poisonous palms that shot toward Lu Ming in the sky. Lu Ming used the wind origin technique to avoid the poisonous palms. In that case, I'll kill you first. In Lu Ming's hand, a Spirit King spear appeared. He became one with the spear and dived down, charging into the poison gas array and attacking Wu Qiandu. You can't kill me. Wu Qiandu let out a cold laugh. With a bang,
His body exploded and turned into clouds of poisonous gas, which merged with the poisonous gas of the formation.
Lu Ming's long spear swept out horizontally, the poisonous gas tumbling endlessly.
Kill!
Lu Ming roared, and a formless soul attack erupted. However, there were countless poisonous insects flying within the poisonous gas. Lu Ming shouted, and a group of poisonous insects fell to the ground. Hee, Lu Ming, you can't hurt me at all. You can only passively let me kill you. Wu Chendu's proud voice rang out. The poison gas array churned, constantly surging towards Lu Ming. The terrifying poison gas enveloped Lu Ming, as if it wanted to corrode the primal chaos domain and then turn Lu Ming to ashes. Moreover, the poison gas would condense into attacks and attack Lu Ming. The long spear vibrated, destroying the attacks one by one. Lu Ming, rush down the fighting stage yourself, or be killed by me. Wu Chendu's cold voice rang out. You think too highly of yourself, Lu Ming said indifferently. If Lu Ming wanted to kill Wu Chendu, he could do it now. He just needed to cast the chaotic flipping sky seal. The terrifying power of the chaotic flipping sky seal could directly cover the entire fighting ring. He could easily destroy this array and even kill Wu Chendu. However, now was not the time to use the primal chaos flipping sky seal. Lu Ming wanted to save the primal chaos flipping sky seal to deal with the leader of the celestial god sect, or Mo He. If he did not use the primal chaos flipping sky seal, he would have to use other methods. Bas! Lu Ming's primal chaos domain suddenly spread out, enveloping the entire fighting stage. Then, endless lightning appeared and filled the fighting stage, followed by flames. The entire fighting stage was enveloped by the power of lightning and fire. Chi. Poisonous insects were burned to death one by one. Kill! Kill! Lu Ming continued to roar as he used the divine sword art, forming invisible waves that rushed out in all directions. A large number of poisonous insects were killed and turned into ashes in the lightning and fire. I don't believe that your soul power can keep on erupting. Wu Chendu's voice rang out. There was a limit to a person's spiritual strength. Constantly using it would consume a lot of spiritual strength. However, after a while, Wu Chendu became nervous. Lu Ming still did not stop. His soul attack continued to erupt, killing almost all of the poisonous insects. Kill! Lu Ming roared as the poisonous gas churned and Wu Chendu's screams rang out. A cloud of mist gathered and churned, as if it was about to condense into a human form. Devour! Lu Ming took a step forward and pressed his left palm in the air. The devouring power erupted and enveloped the poisonous gas. Wisps of poisonous gas were devoured and refined by Lu Ming. The poisonous gas was terrifying. However, Lu Ming's spiritual body had reached the superior earth spiritual body. Moreover, Lu Ming's spiritual body contained traces of primal chaos chi, which was stronger than an ordinary superior earth spiritual body. Hence, he was not afraid of the poisonous gas. Roar! Lu Ming's body faintly rang out with a dragon's roar. Wu Chendu's poisonous gas was being refined continuously. How can this be? My spiritual body is invincible. How can you refine it? Wu Chendu's terrified screams rang out from the poisonous gas as he desperately resisted. Kill! Lu Ming roared as two rays of sword light shot out from his eyes and pierced into the poisonous gas. Wu Chendu screamed and his resistance weakened instantly. Lu Ming continued to erupt with his devouring power, devouring and refining Wu Chendu's poisonous gas. As Wu Chendu screamed, the poisonous gas became smaller and smaller. He wanted to reform his body, but Lu Ming directly attacked. With a punch, he turned back into poisonous gas and was devoured by Lu Ming. Soon, Wu Chendu's poisonous gas was reduced by more than half. Spare me, spare me. Wu Chendu was finally afraid and began to beg for mercy. This feeling of watching himself being refined made him extremely terrified. Moreover, he did not want to die. He had a great future. With his talent, he was very confident that he could break through to the Saint Realm in the future. A Saint Realm expert had a lifespan of more than 100,000 years. How free and unfettered was that? The people from the 13 sects were shocked. Wu Chendu was actually forced to this step by Lu Ming? In the eyes of these geniuses, Wu Chendu was definitely a terrifying existence. His 1,000-bathing poison body and his poisonous body made everyone wary. Even those geniuses who were at the same level as him were extremely wary of him. But now, he was begging for mercy in front of Lu Ming. Spare you? Previously, you sent people from the Desire Poison sect to kill my disciples. Why didn't you spare them? Why didn't you think about the current situation? Lu Ming said coldly as his devouring power continued to devour Wu Qiandu. Wu Qiandu screamed as his poisonous gas churned. Before the battle with Lu Ming, how could he have thought of such an outcome? All he thought about was how to kill Lu Ming. Chapter 1540. Young man, don't go overboard. Don't go overboard. At this moment, an old voice came from one of the pavilions.
Judging from the direction of the voice, it should be the Saint State Elder of the Desire Poison sect.
Hee, are you heartbroken? Why didn't you think about it when you killed my disciple? Lu Ming, you don't have to pay attention to this old man. The voice of the Saint State Elder of the Dragon God Valley came from the pavilion behind the Dragon God Valley. Young man, you should think about it. After all, you'll be traveling outside in the future. It's not good to go overboard. The Saint State Elder of the Desire Poison sect continued. Despicable! How dare you threaten my disciple? The Saint State Elder of the Dragon God Valley said. Hee. The Saint State Elder of the Desire Poison sect sneered. Kill. However, Lu Ming's response was only one word, kill. Lu Ming's eyes emitted two beams of sword gleams that pierced into the poisonous gas. Wu Qiandu screamed miserably. The ball of poisonous gas completely collapsed and there was no sign of life left. Wu Qiandu was dead. This was Lu Ming's response to the Saint State Elder of the Desire Poison sect. He was strong and merciless. At this moment, there was no sound from the pavilion behind the Desire Poison sect, but a cold murderous intent filled the air. Of course, the Saint State Elders were not allowed to interfere in this situation. Otherwise, the other sects would gang up on them. Dead. Wu Qiandu was dead. Most of the people present felt their hearts tremble. Another top-notch prodigy was killed by Lu Ming. In addition to Bai Mo, there were already two top-notch prodigies who had died in Lu Ming's hands. It was too tragic. In the past, very few top Earth spiritual bodies were killed. Even if there was a difference in combat power, it wouldn't be too big. It was possible to defeat them, but difficult to kill them. This time, it was only the 20th round, but two top prodigies had already died and several others were seriously injured. Because of Lu Ming, the small meeting this time was several times more tragic than the past. Lu Ming put away Wu Qiandu's storage ring and returned to the platform. Then, someone went up to the fighting ring and cleaned it up. After all, the poisonous insects and snakes that Wu Qiandu had released earlier were all poisonous substances on the battle stage. On the platform of the Celestial God sect, the leader of the Celestial God sect looked at Tian Xue and Xuening Xin coldly. This guy wants to challenge Tian Xue and Xuening Xin in the next round. Lu Ming said. Right now, Tian Xue and Xuening Xin were both heavily injured. If the leader of the Sky God sect challenged them, it would be very dangerous. The leader of the Sky God sect obviously wanted to seize the opportunity to kill Tian Xue or Xuening Xin. I won't let him succeed. Han Sun spoke, his killing intent cold. After cleaning up, the competition continued.
Perhaps the atmosphere had been stirred up, but when it was the turn of the other sects, the atmosphere became even more intense. The other sects that had enmity with each other also began to send out their top experts to challenge the top experts of their enemy sections. After the battle between Lu Ming and Wu Qiandu, there were two more clashes between the top experts. In the end, the top geniuses of the Intentionless Saber sect and the Demon Castle both suffered heavy injuries and fell off the fighting ring. On the other hand, the top expert of the Linglong Palace defeated his opponent and won despite being heavily injured. Soon, it was the Divine Dragon Valley's turn. Han Sun stood up and stepped out onto the fighting ring. Yu Shang, come down, Han Sun said coldly. Yu Shang was the name of the leader of the Sky God sect. Everyone was shocked. Han Sun was challenging Yu Sheng. The leaders of the two sects were about to clash. Yu Sheng's eyes turned cold. His original plan was to wait until the next round, when it was the Sky God sect's turn to challenge, and then he would personally kill Tian Xue or Xuening Xin. Obviously, Han Sun had seen through his plan and challenged him directly. Yu Shang stepped out and landed on the fighting ring. It's the same if I kill you first, Yu Shang said coldly. His body erupted with dazzling holy light. His entire person was bathed in the holy light, and there was no speck of dust. Yu Shang was a direct descendant of the Sky God sect,
and he cultivated the sky god sex techniques. Shameless boasting. Han Sun sneered, and a terrifying cold air burst out from his body. The cold air spread in all directions, and half of the fighting ring was covered in white frost. Boom! Boom! Yu Shang and Han Sun charged at each other at the same time, and a fierce battle broke out. The two figures clashed continuously on the fighting ring, and their speed became faster and faster. Some of the weaker cultivators could no longer see the two figures clearly. They could only see the endless sacred light and the terrifying cold air on the fighting ring, forming a pillar of qi that shot up into the sky. Whoosh! Yu Shang was bathed in the sacred light, and he held the god's punishment spear in his hand. He was like a god descending to punish the world. White dragon scales appeared on Han Sun's body, and his body was covered in a layer of ice armor. His arms turned into dragon claws, and they were terrifying. Clang! Clang! The dragon claws and the god's punishment spear clashed fiercely. Puchi! Han Sun's shoulder was pierced by the god's punishment spear, but Han Sun's other dragon claw clawed at Yu Shang's chest, almost tearing his heart out. The two of them were injured at the same time, and their clothes were stained with blood. But the battle continued. To be honest, Han Sun and Yu Shang's combat strength was terrifying, and they were even stronger than Bai Mo's. It could be said that in the future, they were very likely to be ranked among the top 10 geniuses of the Tsang state. After all, the top 10 geniuses were chosen by the younger generation below the Saint Realm. Once this year's top 10 geniuses broke into the Saint Realm, they would automatically be removed from the top 10 geniuses, and new geniuses would replace them. It could be said that these two geniuses of the future were fighting in advance. This battle went on for more than 300 moves, and their genuine essence and physical strength were gradually exhausted. In the end, it became a hand-to-hand fight. The two of them tangled together, and blood stained the fighting ring. Bang! In the end, the two of them rolled off the fighting ring at the same time, and the battle ended. Lu Ming moved and appeared beside Han Sun. His genuine essence flowed into Han Sun's body, and he said, "Senior brother Han Sun, are you okay?" "Don't worry, I'm fine. That guy is worse." Han Sun smiled. "Humph." Yu Shang snorted, and with the help of the disciples of the Celestial God sect, he landed on the spectator stand, took a healing pill, and began to heal. Lu Ming helped Han Sun to the spectator stand behind the fighting ring, and then returned to the fighting ring. In this way, there were only 3 people left in the Dragon God Valley. However, the people of the Celestial God sect all looked gloomy. After Yu Shang's withdrawal, the Celestial God sect no longer had any top experts, and it was a joke to get first place. The battle continued, and soon, this round was over, and the 22nd round began. In this round, the remaining disciples of the Celestial God sect had lost their morale, and they randomly sent out one person to challenge the other sections. After that, it was the turn of the Sky Universe Demon sect. "Let me!" He from the Sky Universe Demon sect stepped out with a demonic blade on his back. He landed on the fighting ring and looked directly at the Dragon God Valley. He glanced at Tian Xue and Xuening Xin. Chapter 1541. He obviously wanted to challenge Tian Xue and Xuening Xin. In the end, He's eyes fell on Xuening Xin and said coldly, "Come out." "Fight," Xuening Xin said and stepped forward. "Senior sister, be careful," Lu Ming said. Xuening Xin nodded and stepped onto the battle stage. "I'll kill you in this battle." He's demonic aura surged as the demonic saber on his back unsheathed and slashed toward Xuening Xin. Roar! Xuening Xin roared and turned into her true form. She opened her mouth and spat out a stream of icy air toward the saber. Boom! An intense collision occurred, and Xuening Xin's slender body trembled as she retreated. Xuening Xin had been severely injured in the previous battle, and it was impossible for her to recover in such a short time. She was at a disadvantage from the start. Demonic Saber Division. The demonic saber in He's hand merged with his domain and slashed out again. The demonic saber division was the ultimate technique of the Sky Universe demonic sect. It was said to be able to split everything with a single slash. Snowflakes appeared around Xuening Xin and flew toward the demonic splitting saber with a whistling sound. But when the snowflakes came into contact with the demonic saber division, they seemed to be affected by a terrifying vibration and exploded. Clang! 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 The snowflakes collided with the demonic saber, and the sound of metal clashing rang out. The snowflakes collapsed, but the power of the demonic saber was also rapidly weakening. Slash. Mo-he's demonic aura surged as he slashed out again. Then he slashed out again. One slash after another, and each slash was extremely terrifying. It was as if they were going to split the sky. Xueningshin's dragon claws stepped on the air and pounced toward Mo-he. Boom. Boom. Terrifying explosions were constantly heard as the two of them exchanged more than 10 blows. Gradually, Xueningshin was losing. Her injuries were acting up, and she couldn't use her full strength. Puchi! Dragon scales were cut and fell everywhere. Deep and long wounds appeared on Xueningshin's body, and blood dyed her snow-white body red. Dang! Mo-he's devil saber pierced through Xueningshin's attack and slashed at her head, trying to decapitate her. Xueningshin retreated quickly, but it was still too late. A wound was left between her eyebrows. Xueningshin was already heavily injured, and now that she was injured, her battle prowess was getting weaker and weaker. She was no match for Mo-he. Senior sister, get off the battle stage, Lu Ming said to Xueningshin telepathically. If this went on, Xueningshin would be in danger. Roar! Xueningshin shouted. She was unwilling to give up. After exchanging another blow with Mo-he, she turned around and left. You want to leave? Say. Mo-he's demonic chi became even more terrifying. She soared into the sky and slashed out with her demonic saber. 8 saber lights slashed down, blocking Xueningshin's path. Xueningshin's dragon claws stomped on the ground, and the ground was instantly covered in a layer of ice. Ice swords rushed out and rushed towards the demonic sabers. Bang! Bang! Unfortunately, Xueningshin's battle prowess was too weak to break through the demonic sabers. Instead, the demonic sabers left a deep wound on her body, almost cutting off one of her dragon claws. You can't escape. Demonic dragon seal. Mo-he said coldly. His hands formed a seal, and a black demonic dragon roared and flew towards Xueningshin. The two dragons, one black and one white, fought on the battle stage. Then, Mo-he split the demonic saber and attacked Xueningshin. After a few moves, Xueningshin's injuries were even more severe. Break! In the end, Xueningshin roared. Her true dragon body shrank rapidly, and a layer of ice covered her body, making her look like an ice sword. Whoosh! The ice sword kept colliding with Mo-he's demonic saber. Finally, it rushed out of the range of the demonic saber and reached the edge of the battle stage. At this time, the ice covering Xueningshin's body also collapsed. Xueningshin's aura became even weaker. She stomped her dragon claws and rushed out of the battle stage. She let out a sigh of relief and quickly withdrew her aura. Die! Mo-he roared and stood at the edge of the battle stage. His eyes were ferocious and filled with cold killing intent. He slashed his demonic saber at Xueningshin's head. Xueningshin's fall meant that the battle was over, so she completely let down her guard and withdrew her true yuan. She didn't expect Mo-he to be so despicable and attack her again. Xueningshin didn't have time to dodge this attack. You're courting death. On the platform, Lu Ming let out a roar and his true essence boiled. The black wings on his back suddenly extended. With a flap, he appeared next to Xueningshin and flapped the demonic saber. Lu Ming, what are you doing? You interfered and used a saint weapon. You broke the rules. Seeing that his saber had been blocked by Lu Ming, there was a look of indignation in Mo-he's eyes. Shut up. Who broke the rules? My senior sister has already rushed out of the battle stage and landed on the ground. She lost. This battle is over, but you still want to kill her. Are you the one who broke the rules? Or am I the one who broke the rules? Lu Ming stared coldly at Mo-he. If he hadn't been watching the battle stage and immediately used a saint weapon to rush out, Xueningshin would have been in danger. Oh, her foot landed on the ground? I didn't see it. Mo-he quibbled. Lu Ming didn't say anything. He only stared at Mo-he with cold killing intent. He had to kill this Mo-he. Senior sister, let's go. Lu Ming helped Xueningshin to the spectator stand. Junior brother, thank you for just now. Xueningshin had returned to her human form, but her face was somewhat pale. Senior sister, there's no need to be so polite. I will kill Mo-he to avenge you. Lu Ming said. I believe in junior brother. Xueningshin smiled. She swallowed a healing elixir and began to recuperate while Lu Ming returned to the platform. The challenges continued. As expected, when it was the Desire Poison Sect's turn, An expert from the Desire Poison sect challenged Tian Chue. Like the Sky Demon sect, the Desire Poison sect also had two top experts. Wu Chendu had been killed by Lu Ming, so there was only one left. The Desire Poison sect hated Lu Ming to the core and wanted to kill Tian Chue to avenge Wu Chendu. However, Tian Chue's injuries were better than Xuening Xin's. Moreover, Tian Chue cultivated the barbarian dragon body, so his defense was strong. However, Tian Chue was injured and couldn't defeat his opponent. After exchanging more than 100 blows, he was knocked off the stage. With Tian Chue's defeat, only Lu Ming was left in the Dragon God Valley. Countless gazes landed on the platform of the Divine Dragon Valley and on Lu Ming alone. Chapter 1542. The challenges continued, and they were very intense. Now, the competition had entered the second half, and the weak had been eliminated. The remaining people were all very strong, and the battles were very intense. One battle after another, it was finally Dragon God Valley's turn. Lu Ming stepped out and landed on the fighting stage. "Mo He, come down and die." Lu Ming's voice resounded throughout the area. As expected, Lu Ming is going to challenge Mo He. In many people's hearts, Mo He had violated the rules earlier and almost killed Xuening Xin. Many people guessed that Lu Ming would definitely challenge Mo He. Mo He carried the demonic saber on his back and stepped onto the fighting stage. "You've managed to escape the previous 2 times. Today, I'll finish you off." Mo He spoke. Even though Lu Ming had already killed 2 top-notch powerhouses, he was still very domineering. "Today, you won't have any chance. You will die without a doubt," Lu Ming said, and he was also very strong. Bas, bas. The two stood facing each other, and their domains burst out at the same time, rushing toward each other. Boom! Their domains collided with each other, and there was a loud rumbling sound. They were fiercely fighting. Mo He's demonic Dao domain was at the peak of LV7, while Lu Ming's domain was only at the peak of LV4. However, Lu Ming's domain was not at a disadvantage at all. Their domains continued to clash and entangle with each other, stirring up a terrifying energy storm. "Kill! Demonic Saber Division!" Mo He shouted and unsheathed his demonic saber. A shocking saber light broke through the sky and slashed toward Lu Ming. A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he used the 13th strike. A spear light burst out and collided with the demonic saber. There were 13 forces in the spear light, and they exploded with a terrible penetrating power. However, there was a terrible splitting power in the demonic saber that was rapidly splitting the spear light's power. In the end, the 2 forces dissipated. Lu Ming's eyes moved slightly. The demonic saber of the Sky Universe Demon sect was indeed worthy of its reputation. Whoosh! Whoosh! Then, the 2 of them rushed forward and collided with each other like 2 bolts of lightning. The demonic saber and the long spear collided with each other, emitting a terrifying roar. Every time the 2 of them collided, a terrifying shockwave would erupt. The shockwave was rampant and swept out in all directions. Around the fighting stage, there was a transparent light screen that blocked the overflowing chi. Otherwise, some of the weaker people in the spectator stands would have been injured. "Kill!" After exchanging several moves, Lu Ming roared. 2 divine swords shot out of his eyes, shooting toward Mo He. Lu Ming used the divine sword art, and 2 pitch-black swords entered Mo He's body and attacked his spiritual divinity. However, Mo's body only trembled slightly, and he was fine. A spiritual god defensive treasure. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. "Your soul attack is useless against me." Mo He sneered. His demonic saber swept out, taking advantage of this opportunity to attack Lu Ming. Wang! Lu Ming's long spear shook, blocking the Devil Blade's attack. Then, the 2 of them clashed again, exchanging dozens of moves. In truth, Mo He was indeed very strong. He was even stronger than by Mo and Wu Chendu, who Lu Ming had just killed. He should be comparable to Han soon, the leader of the Celestial God sect. Lu Ming's spiritual body and primal chaos domain gave him a slight advantage. However, Mo He's cultivation was 2 levels higher than Lu Ming's. The 2 of them fought fiercely, and it was difficult to determine a victor. Third bloodline. With a thought, Lu Ming's 3rd bloodline appeared. A strand of energy entered Lu Ming's body, increasing Lu Ming's combat strength. Clang! Lu Ming's long spear swept out, and Mohe's body trembled. He was forced back a long distance along the fighting stage. Divine Gate. 9 seals. Lu Ming's hands quickly formed seals, and 6 sealing gates appeared around Mohe, wanting to seal him. Demon God descends. Mohe roared. Demonic chi surged, and a huge demon god with 3 heads and 6 arms condensed around him. It exuded a vast demonic aura. This was a secret technique, or rather, it was a secret technique brought by Mohe's spiritual body. It was very similar to Bai Mo's sword array. They were both secret techniques brought by spiritual bodies. Boom! The 3-headed, 6-armed demon god blasted out 6 palms, bombarding the 6 sealing gates. Boom! Boom! The 6 sealed doors trembled and directly exploded. At this time, Lu Ming's attack had arrived. The long spear smashed towards Mohe like a mountain. Boom! Boom! The 3-headed, 6-armed demon god's 6 giant palms bombarded Lu Ming. 2 of them blocked Lu Ming's long spear, while the other 4 palms pressed down on Lu Ming like 4 mountains. Lu Ming's long spear shook, turning into layers of spear shadows, and blasted out. The long spear collided with the demon palms. In the violent explosion, Lu Ming and Mohe's bodies were both pushed back. This brat, how long has it been? He has such combat strength. He must be eliminated. Mohe was shocked. Back when he led people to hunt down Lu Ming did not have much strength to resist in front of him. But now, Lu Ming could fight him head-on, and it was difficult to tell who would win. In a while, what realm would Lu Ming reach? Wouldn't he surpass him in all aspects? Thinking of this, he felt a chill in his heart. He and Lu Ming were already mortal enemies. If they met in the future, they would definitely fight fiercely. One of them had to die. But in a while, he was afraid that if he met Lu Ming again, he would be the one to die. Therefore, he had to kill Lu Ming now. Kill! Kill! Mohe roared. His demonic chi seemed to burn, and the huge demonic god seemed to become corporeal. Shockingly, 6 huge demonic sabers appeared on the demonic god's 6 arms. Boom! Boom! Mohe took a step forward and charged at Lu Ming. The huge demonic god brandished its demonic sabers and charged at Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. The power of his 3rd bloodline continuously poured into Lu Ming's body, causing Lu Ming's killing intent to become even stronger. At the same time, devouring power burst out and enveloped Mohe, causing his demonic chi to become unstable. The demonic god's aura also weakened. Lu Ming took a step forward and soared into the sky. His long spear turned into a 1,000-meter-long spear light that smashed toward Mohe. Mohe's eyes were ferocious. He also used all his strength. The huge demonic god and the 6 demonic sabers continuously slashed at Lu Ming. The two collided fiercely. Spear light and saber light soared into the sky. Everyone, whether they were on the platform or in the spectator stands, held their breaths and stared at the fighting ring. They were afraid that they would miss the exciting scene. What strong combat strength! He can unleash such terrifying combat strength when he's below the 7th martial royal realm. I'm afraid that even the 8th martial royal realm would be killed by him. A genius above the 7th martial royal realm said with a serious look. They're all peerless geniuses. In the future, they have great hopes of becoming the top 10 monstrous geniuses of the Tsong Prefecture. That's right. I wonder who will win this battle? You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.